Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. People at Marvel. Kamar-Taj signs on for 10 years. Chapter 81. After becoming a closed disciple, Strange tidied up and lay on the bed. After a lot of hard work and twists and turns, he finally joined Kamar-Taj, which made Strange feel a long sigh of relief. Tone. Since my hands were injured, I have been spending these days under heavy pressure. Now, this pressure has finally been relieved a lot. Even when he wanted to let himself go when he became a magician, he actually said something like, "I have medicine." Fortunately, Ancient One didn't take it to heart the next day. Strange's ability is outstanding, and he is trained as his successor. The Ancient One is personally responsible for teaching him. Then, Ancient One carefully explained some of the power, formation and theory of magic to Strange. From the mouth of the Ancient One, Strange had a general idea of magic. The so-called magic is a bit similar to computer programming, using specific arrangements to form language, and the language formed is manifested in the real world, which is magic. As for the strength of magic, it is related to mental strength and the understanding of magic. In a simple metaphor, a beginner is like a newborn baby, and the so-called magic learning is to let this baby learn to ride. Biking, or learning to swim, the so-called mental strength is a necessary strength. If you want to swim fast, strength is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, a person with no strength will not be able to swim fast no matter how good his technique is. Definitely, in addition to strength, technique, or in other words, the ability to swim, understanding this technology is also important. If an ordinary born baby wants to learn to swim, he not only has to exercise hard to make himself stronger, but also needs to practice swimming skills. However, other magic beginners are like newborn babies. But there are always some babies who grow as fast as if they were suffering from stress hormones, and their cultivation progresses very quickly. Strange's progress is quickly surpassing the original magician. Strange's training speed is really scary. It can be seen from the original work that Strange goes from entering Kamar-Taj's training to finally coming out and becoming Dr. Strange, at least in the plot of the movie. The time consumed is not much. 1 month, 2 months. Half a year. In the words of Ancient One, if a beginner wants to successfully cast a magic, even the lowest level of magic, it will take at least 1.5 years of practice. However, it only took Strange a month or so to successfully cast a magic of the lowest level. It is enough to prove his excellent ability, although it is far inferior to Su Chen. The Ancient One is the Sorcerer Supreme, and can be said to be the most powerful one among all magicians. Strange, a newcomer, can actually be personally taught by the Ancient One to become a closed disciple. To be honest, many people among Kamar-Taj see it, but they feel very unhappy in their hearts, or it should be said that they are unbalanced in their hearts. Why can he become a closed disciple of Sorcerer Supreme? Can't he? However, when Strange successfully cast a magic in just about a month, the apprentices practicing on Kamar-Taj's side and even the more powerful magicians were not able to do it. Speak. This ability can indeed be called a closed disciple, and it is not impossible to completely inherit the mantle of the Ancient One magician. It has to be said that the ability displayed by Strange shocked everyone. He is a genius in learning magic. It is no wonder that Sorcerer Supreme made him his closed disciple. But after Strange learned a few magics, he became confused and decided to trouble Su Chen. Seeing that most magicians of the same age don't know as many magics as she does, and seeing that Su Chen is so young, she definitely doesn't know many. So Strange feels that his winning rate will be very high. As for the reason, it is that the reputation of closed-door disciple drugging the teacher has spread in Kamar-Taj, causing him to lose a lot of face. The magician on the side suddenly became energetic when he heard that Strange wanted to challenge Su Chen. If you buy a sure deal and leave it, you'll get 1,000 for each one. 1,000 for each one. Strange was greatly confused. Is my winning rate so high? Although I am a closed disciple, but you think so highly of me, I will still be shy. The little magician apprentice on the side gave Strange a glance, as if to say, is it just you? This expression of cruelty and mentality exploded. Su Chen, I will definitely teach you a lesson. The battle started as scheduled, and Ancient One's eyes fell on Su Chen, seeming to say, please pay attention to this, don't get killed. Start. Strange activates a magic shield and a magic whip, and his proficiency absolutely crushes most people. But when he faces the moment, he is Su Chen. During this period, Su Chen constantly released the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, and all 4 oceans. Strange still didn't stand a chance. Then Su Chen got close to him, like squeezing an egg, maybe Strange would break it. Strange was defeated in 3 moves and 2 moves. Now your magic fighting skills are too immature, and Su Chen is a leader in magic fighting. It's normal that you can't beat him. Su Chen, are you willing to teach this junior brother fighting skills? Ancient One looked at Strange, who was doubting his life, and comforted him. Then I left the matter of teaching Strange how to fight to Su Chen. The Ancient One was really no match for Su Chen in a Shinwa fight. After knowing his own shortcomings, Strange thought about Su Chen, humbly asking for advice on how to improve his combat power. So Su Chen took Strange to the library. Hey, King, please take the Book of the New Sun, Secret Techniques of Emperor Weishan, New Edition of the Universe, Supreme Code, Key of Solomon. Su Chen talked about thousands of books in an eloquent manner. The name alone scared Strange into silence. The most important thing is that after Su Chen said the names, this king actually found all these books. Just read these books from now on. Su Chen randomly found a space ring. The space gem has been signed in, and the space equipment can fill up the space, put it in, and threw it to Strange. You also became stronger by cutting these books? Strange asked doubtfully. Who's reading a book if you're dead? Su Chen said casually. Hang, can I have it too? Strange asked. What the heck? In this era where the poor rely on mutation and the rich rely on technology, being able to become stronger through magic is already outrageous. Su Chen dismissed Strange's dissatisfaction with his desires. And if you want to fail, why are you looking for me? Go find your teacher. Indeed, when Strange is equipped with the Time Gem plugin, that's when he will go to hell. The Ancient One teacher not only equipped him with the Time Gem plugin, but also equipped him with a cloak, something Su Chen didn't even have, and the equipment is full of awesomeness. A quiet night in the suburbs of London. This is an ancient relic. Perhaps in these ruins of broken limbs, we can see the prosperity of the past. All that can be seen now is a desolate and collapsed group of rubble buildings. But what was unexpected was that a group of people in black robes came to the ruins today. Logically speaking, no one should appear here except archaeologists, but if you take off their black robes, you will find that these people are either famous political elites or tycoons in the business world. At this moment, these people are gathering in the square, wearing black robes, wrapping themselves tightly, and there are still some weird syllables hidden in their mouths. If a magician comes here, he will find that there are extremely evil magic waves around this square. This is an altar built by demons. In the middle of the crowd was a business tycoon possessed by the demon Mephisto, and a young child. They knelt on the ground and swayed their bodies following the strange syllables. Through the torches, they could see that their shadows were constantly lengthening, and the shadow of the man possessed by North Mephisto was slowly rushing toward the child. Who is this child? He is the descendant of a PY transaction between an Earth woman and the devil. He is also a key prop character in Soul Chariot 2. He will also cause demons to descend into the human world and possess bodies. And to add to the plot, at the moment Johnny the Soul Knight should appear nearby, but at the moment Johnny doesn't know about this, he is still sleeping soundly in S.H.I.E.L.D. There was a priest who broke into this place single-handedly, but the firepower here was too strong and he received a box lunch on the spot. In the end, Mephisto's shadow quickly swallowed up Danny's shadow, and then the human being originally possessed by Mephisto turned into a blood mist. And it drilled into Danny's body without leaving any trace. It's all nutrients, we can't waste it. Seeing this scene, the woman who made a deal with the devil couldn't help but burst into tears. Danny. The little boy's body was controlled by Mephisto and he walked up to the woman. Thank you. Thanks to you, I can get such a perfect body. In the future, you can continue to make containers and new children for me. Ha ha ha. Come out of the gate of hell. Tear. A space crack expanded rapidly and opened a crack of several kilometers in the sky. Thick and hot liquid magma constantly flows out of the cracks, exuding a strong smell of sulfur. Trask is constantly crawling out of the lava. After the initial confusion, he set his sights on the servant of the devil in black robe. You are no longer useful, now just sacrifice to these Trask and let them report a meal. As the cruel king of demons, he squeezes everything to the extreme. There is no need to exploit the strength of either of them. My child, now I have shown you that the gate of hell has been opened. Now it is time for you to perform. Tomorrow, I will see that every inch of the land under my feet is stained with the breath of the devil. Ow oh. Brand is an ordinary Englishman. He was born in London, the Eagle Country. Also grew up in London, the Eagle Country. He has no outstanding appearance and no hatred for evil, he is just an ordinary journalist. I don't have any hobbies at ordinary times. I just like to tease interview subjects and then ask them out to do something I love to do. They also made some indescribable transactions between certain high-ranking officials and certain companies through illegal channels. In general, Brand is thriving in the industry and his life is quite nourishing. Are you looking for that girl again? That ***** was really good last time. I'll go there again if I get a chance. Hehehehe. Brand experienced herd immunity for a period of time, and it was a rare news today. After that, he lit a cigarette and strolled through the streets of London in the drizzle. Despite his filthy heart, he has now entered the sage mode. Even the greatest temptation in the world cannot confuse him. Even if he is a fan of Red Skull, he will definitely only be able to do it now. Tomorrow there will be a hero. He walked towards home. Soon I turned into the 3rd Garden Street intersection. This street is different from the past. Maybe it's because of the rain. No one. The silence was a bit eerie. Lightning suddenly struck in the sky. Brad's heart tightened. I couldn't help but speed up my pace home. He walked with his head down. Suddenly I heard something strange. Finally, the sole of my foot slipped and I fell to the ground. I stepped on something. Brad just couldn't see what it was because it was too dark outside. What the hell? He slowly got up and turned on his phone to see what had tripped it. Just when he wanted to continue complaining, a black-haired melon suddenly appeared in his pupils. His face suddenly turned pale. The whole person was so frightened that he fell to the ground. The umbrella also fell on the wet ground next to it. Is there a murder? Is it possible that another person died from herd immunity? Suddenly a black 3-headed dog appeared. Jumped out roaring from the side. He stepped directly on Brad. Help! Help! The wet rain was mixed with the stench from the 3-headed dog's mouth. Brad screamed repeatedly. Woof woof. At this time, 3-headed dogs jumped out of the alley one after another. In the blink of an eye, the whole street was filled. This wasn't over yet. Dense black shadows appeared in the sky, filling the entire sky. Soon, humanoid monsters with wings on their backs and horns on their heads also appeared near him. Demon. Those were the last words Brad said. His throat was quickly bitten out. Several 3-headed dogs frantically competed for Brad's body. Another huge amount of thunder and lightning flashed in the sky, illuminating the garden streets at night. The street lights turned on slightly, reflecting this tragic scene. Red blood, mixed with rainwater, flowing in the streets. A 3-headed dog with a calf and a file size rushed into the homes of surrounding residents, bringing out screams of terror. These sounds, it's so good, nice to hear. Black hearts stampeded on the ground. He couldn't help but smile. The air here, it smells so bad. What happened? The last time I came to the human world, the air here doesn't smell so bad. Blackheart is a son of Mephisto, the Lord of Hell, and he is specifically responsible for this assault plan on Earth. At the same time, it was also to express himself. After all, his good brother Wu Shinmo had been disobedient and was killed by Fisto. Now Blackheart doesn't want to know that he will appear in that cemetery the next day. So he is still very concerned about invading the human world. But how can Blackheart, who has never been to the Earth for many years, know? Human pollution of fantasy. It has reached a very terrifying level. I hope my father won't be disappointed after getting this place. Blackheart said, snapped his fingers. Children, the beautiful dinner is about to begin. The city of London was suddenly cut off from all news from the outside and became like an isolated island. Kamar-Taj. Dr. Strange looked at Su Chen, who was teaching him the teleportation magic. It seems that individual guidance has no effect. Strange thought to himself and continued to draw the teleportation magic with electric sparks, but could not draw a stable magic circle that could teleport. The portal in Kamar-Taj is considered a high-level magic, and ordinary magicians may not be able to learn it. As everyone knows, most magicians rely on the sling ring to barely be able to draw circles. Su Chen can cast it without a sling ring, so the task of teaching the doctor about the portal is left to Su Chen. Seeing Strange unable to draw the portal, Su Chen decided to imitate the Ancient One magician and threw him directly onto Everest. Sure enough, there is a great horror between life and death, which directly stimulates Strange's potential. Before, he was a great genius with outstanding abilities, but now he is a monster-level existence. Strange opened the portal and saw that Su Chen and Wang Feier had set up a small table in the courtyard of the martial arts arena. There are 3 chairs, a big magic stove and many vegetables and meat slices on the table. Come on, come on. You're freezing. Su Chen enthusiastically helped the trembling doctor sit down. This is the food we specially prepared for you, hot pot. It's specially used to ward off the cold. The doctor looked surprised. You have to know that he has only been down from the Himalayas for a few minutes, and he has even prepared everything. Are you so confident that you can come back alive? Or should I prepare to pick it up later? And then stew it? You still have magic power, control it quickly and heat this magic furnace. Wang Magician said to the doctor. Recently, due to their doctorate relationship, Wang Magician and Su Chen have become very close, and they can talk quite well. So I started working part-time as a teaching doctor with Su Chen. Recently, Ancient One Magician felt that I had nothing to do. He teaches other disciples how to keep fit and healthy every day. Do you need me to go? I'm about to freeze to death. Don't think that since I'm a gangster now, you don't have to bear criminal responsibility. The doctor yelled that he knew how inhumanely the 2 people on the opposite side committed human rights violations, especially Su Chen. Although the final result was acceptable, the process was too uncomfortable. So reluctantly, the doctor accepted their oppression and started cooking for them. The water in the pot on the induction cooker boiled quickly. Wang Magician sandwiched the sliced mutton and began to put it in the pot, as well as some vegetables. Take a sip of vodka to warm yourself up. Su Chen handed over a bottle of wine. Why isn't it white wine? The doctor asked in confusion. Logically speaking, Su Chen should be handing over white wine. Why is he handing out vodka now? Today is a good day. If you drink vodka today, tomorrow the palace will be your home. You can go be a monster. Su Chen slowly explained that no matter how cold the doctor was, he no longer wanted to deal with this thing. How do you eat this? Dr. Strange asked, looking at the bowl, condiments, and food in the pot in front of him. Put the seasonings in a bowl. After the meat is cooked, dip it in the seasonings and eat it. Mutton hot pot is a great supplement, Wang Magician said. Wang Magician prepared chopsticks for the 2 of them. However, the doctor sadly discovered that his hands were not good enough to use chopsticks, and he could not use chopsticks well. You definitely did it on purpose. So the doctor angrily found a shovel because he knew he couldn't even hold a fork. Suddenly the Kamar-Taj alarm bell rang loudly. The voice and shadow of Ancient One appeared in front of the 3 people. Something happened. Demons opened the gate to hell near London. A large number of demons poured in. London's holy place is short of manpower and needs support. And it seems that Mephisto himself has descended into the human world, and all the magicians of Kamar-Taj will be dispatched. At this moment, Fury from S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually holding a secret emergency meeting with the Security Council staff. Why is the Earth invaded by aliens again? In less than half an hour, the whole of London fell. A look of horror appeared on Yingguo's face, and at the same time he quickly revealed his information. Now there are troops formed by our country outside London. The lethality of our firepower is really too low. The lethality is basically 0. Even if they are blown into pieces, they can recover after a certain amount of time. Okay, I understand, our professionals here already know what this is. This is a demon from hell. Fury also knew that the tense was urgent, so he shared the information he got from Johnny. At the same time, Ying Feng's representatives were also showing a video. In the video, a bloody scene suddenly appeared. Several 3-headed dogs that should only appear in legends pounced on them crazily, tearing at passers-by. Blood and broken corpses were everywhere. At this time, a Yingfeng tank slowly came over. The powerful armed firepower on the tank blasted and killed those 3-headed hell dogs. Just when everyone breathed a sigh of relief, a humanoid monster with wings on its back, horns on its head, and a tail suddenly flew from the sky. He opened his mouth. A black light suddenly erupted from his mouth. In an instant, the military tanks were reduced to ashes. With such strength, the military is no longer able to solve the problem. We hope that the Avengers team with experience in dealing with aliens will go to the rescue. Similarly, we also found a crack several kilometers near London, which is where these monsters came out. And our Prime Minister, as well as our British royal family, are still in the occupied area of London. There are only a few churches in the entire UK with a large number of survivors. We don't know how long they can last. I promise again that as long as these people can be rescued, Eagle Kingdom will definitely give them a noble title. We have taken the application seriously. People from S.H.I.E.L.D. please respond quickly. At this time, only Fury looked embarrassed. The most we can do is pass on information to you. I am not a direct superior, so I really can't give orders. This matter is very serious, smiley face A. Representative of the United States. At this time, New York showed a wild smile on his face. This time I am not the big New York anymore. At this time, the captain, who was the soul of the Women's Federation, had already made preparations. Suddenly, a plane fell from the sky and appeared in front of the captain with a perfect tail drift and parking maneuver. No time to explain, get in the car quickly. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Team leader. This is the garage, dear. May God bless us. At this moment, inside the Holy Place Cathedral in London, a priest wearing a black robe and holding a Bible in his hand was chanting. I am constantly praying with the cross on my chest in my hand. But it's not hard to see from him how nervous he is. Question mark. Cold sweat on the forehead. Slightly trembling legs. Question mark. Oh, my God. The priest's heart has slowly collapsed. Question mark. But he knew that he had to be strong. There is a devil outside, there should be holy light here. There is angel, there is milk. But why are the prayers in my heart useless? The largest church can only provide the merest protection. As if to prove that they still have a little bit of value in existence. Fortunately, a space door suddenly opened and everyone was transferred to the holy place in London and then transferred to a safe place through the space portal. In fact, those churches were secretly arranged by magicians. Otherwise, would the priest's faith suddenly collapse? At the moment Su Chen said nothing else, now he is walking on the streets of London. With him were the Doctor and Thor. Ikaros is because his firepower does too little damage to magical beings like demons. If energy weapons are used recklessly, it is not impossible to destroy the devil, but it is estimated that all of London will be gone. Not to mention things like London's holy places that break at the first touch. When the holy place is destroyed, more things from the dark dimension will escape, and even greater trouble will come. I won't take Icarus with me just to avoid trouble. As for those two little beasts, they haven't accumulated enough energy yet, so they need to raise them first until they can show their strength later. As for why I brought Thor, this little guy has this kind of divine power in his body, and he can deal with demons quite well. The reason I brought the Doctor was because all the magicians in the portal were assigned the task of rescuing civilians. The Doctor is the least powerful among them, so let Su Chen take him to be safer. Under the cover of darkness, Su Chen and the other three came to an unknown garden square in London. Question mark. The originally beautiful square was completely damaged at the moment. Question mark. Only half of those beautiful sculptures are left. Question mark. The fountain also stopped spraying water. Blood was flowing in the pool. Question mark. There are dead men's corpses all around. It seems that London has indeed turned into hell. Question mark quote. Asshole. Question mark. The Doctor squatted down and looked at the body that felt that the body temperature had not completely dissipated. With anger in his eyes, he looked at the tragic scene around him and couldn't help but say. After saying that, he walked towards a nearby residential building to look for survivors inside. Then opened the crappy portal and send everyone else away. Looking at the Doctor who was sweating on his forehead, Su Chen also said silently, unexpectedly, you are still a good person. Su Chen thought that most doctors in the United States were just for money. Su Chen was wandering around boredly, and when a Trask came, he could kill it easily. For Su Chen, dealing with these Trask is as easy as bullying a child. But there is still a reputation for danger for the Doctor. When Su Chen came here, he discovered that because there were so many demons, something similar to a realm was formed around him. He can blur Su Chen's perception, making Su Chen unable to perceive Mephisto's position. Otherwise, why would Su Chen be here playing house with the doctor? Go directly to Wonglong, fight Mephisto for 3 days and 3 nights, and finally kill him. This is in line with the script. But I was disappointed when I opened it. Trask and hellhounds are everywhere here. There is not a higher level. The most important thing is that these hellhounds urinate everywhere to indicate their territory, causing the entire city to smell like sulfur. These dogs dominate the city. Su Chen had no choice but to take the doctor around the city, hoping to find the true form of Mephisto. It is quite difficult to find them with an invasion like the other party, which has no goal but only kills and destroys. Even the Ancient One is now in such an awkward position. Even using the time gem is useless. Time gem is a big killer, but it is not very efficient in finding people, and Ancient One magician is not as adaptable to time gem as doctor. The plot I saw was not as far as doctors, but there were more doctors. So it's very embarrassing now. On the outskirts of the city of London, countless patriotic soldiers surrounded London, which was like a large dark bull holding back. Once you step into this black bull area, countless hellhounds will knock you down and then be torn apart by them. Even the most advanced tanks cannot stop their sharp teeth. Sir, what should we do? So many hellhounds. There was despair in the voice of a soldier. You must know that his family lives in London. In this situation, his life is probably at risk. There are so many hellhounds. Even the dog sea tactics in the interstellar world don't have so many. Another soldier held the gun in his hand. Although it was usually a powerful weapon, there was no sense of security in his hand now. Report, report, a fighter jet has flown over. A soldier kept shouting into the intercom. He was constantly wondering who arranged the flight. Before, they also sent planes into New York, the Devil's Realm. As soon as you enter the field, the sky is filled with Trask, constantly attacking fighters, because there are too many of them. If a fighter jet accidentally collides with it, it will be destroyed and everyone will be killed. Even now, this dark bull even functions as a wall. Once a plane hits it, it is like hitting a wall. So far, no plane can safely enter it. The skies of London are about to become a no-go zone for humans. But now, a plane carries flames. The impact went. Rushed in. This plane made a great contribution. He rushed in without giving the rain cover a chance. He was so fast that he didn't even have a chance to react. This flame fighter represents an insignificant part of mankind's fight against demons and salvation of mankind. At this moment, he is not a plane, he is not. At this moment, he is possessed by the souls of all human ancestors, and he faces the expectant eyes of the soldiers. Got in. It killed a lot of demons along the way, and he was about to break through the demon's defense circle. It's about to break through the devil's defense circle. This is not a small step, it is 10 giant steps in humanity's battle against all odds. The soldiers were very excited at this moment, as if they were about to see the hope of human success. At this moment, the general who was listening to the soldiers' continuous broadcast seemed to have stopped his heartbeat. He was holding the phone in his hand and almost burst it. At this moment, the people on the plane had no idea what was happening below. Continue to explain below. Oh, the plane carried the flames from inside. All demons blocking the plane were shot down. Oh, another demon appeared, although this was a huge demon with barbs all over his body, 2 horns on his head, and 2 wings on his back. But we believe that he can't stop the pace of hope. The devil opened his arms and tried to block the plane. Faced with such a demon, the aircraft lived up to the expectations of the soldiers. Close, the nose of the plane appeared in his hand. Although it's embarrassing, it doesn't matter, the plane's nose rubs against the devil's hands. It's on fire. The temperature of the friction was so high that the nose of the plane caught fire. The devil's hand was also set on fire, and the fire quickly spread to the devil's body, etc. The devil is so despicable that he ignored professional ethics and used his feet. That's right, the flame demon facing the plane used a horizontal kick and was directly knocked off by the nose of the plane. No, this is too cruel. This demon actually grabbed a little man from the nose of the plane. A little man on fire. The devil seemed to be no longer interested in the villain and threw him away like a rag doll. Boom! The cement on the ground was smashed into pieces, and the roofs of nearby vehicles were dented. The soldiers were desperate again and fell into collective silence. The superhero they thought was the savior of mankind was killed by the enemy. It's so cruel. How could a normal person survive such an attack? There is no hope at all from now on. Johnny, who turned out to be an Avengers, immediately rushed to London after successfully receiving the Avengers. They actually don't know that Hong Kong, London, and New York are interconnected, provided they go to the holy place. Without knowing anything about it, they had no choice but to fly to London on a plane modified by Johnny Magic. Since he was able to fly a plane, Johnny's precious motorcycle was finally eliminated. How can a motorcycle be as fun as flying on a plane? After Johnny's repeated requests, this multi-pilot aircraft company was successfully born. It integrates various functions of transportation and combat into one. Under Johnny's control, you can quickly travel to various parts of the world, but if someone else is driving it, it will probably fall apart immediately. After all, you are about science, he is about magic. Newton's coffin board couldn't hold down. Because of Johnny, his entry into the field didn't cause any waves, but the bright hellfire symbol on the plane attracted a lot of hatred. Countless Trask flew into the sky trying to stop Johnny's soul fighter. Has this place become a hell? Why are there so many Trask? Johnny constantly controls the fighter plane to swallow bullets and kill the demons in the sky. The powerful power system also gives the plane powerful destructive power. Finally, the plane was about to break through Trask's siege, but soon discovered the Black Heart at the end. It turns out that it was Blackheart who immediately perceived the Soul Knight's position. He just thought that he must catch this guy and give it to his father. When the time comes when my father takes back the Hellfire, he will definitely become stronger. There is a reason why Blackheart can survive in Mephisto's hands for so long. He has ambition, but he hides it deeply. Unlike his father's other sons, they are all idiots. If you don't have any skills, you still have to jump around. Although Blackheart knew Johnny, Johnny didn't know Blackheart. Johnny knew that the person in front of him was not Mephisto, and thought he was a slightly older Trask. So without saying a word, he increased his power and tried to run over Blackheart's face. But the confident impact at the end didn't make any waves. How can it be? A look of confusion can be seen in the eyes of the fleshless skull. You must know that Ghost Rider's tank can use the Earth as a runway to drive at high speed, and a fighter plane that perfectly inherits this ability can also do it. Although this ability has not yet been reached to the extreme. But its power can hit mountains and cross seas without any problem, but at the moment this plane stays firmly in the hands of Blackheart. Weak Knight, you are far worse than the previous generation of knights. Not to be outdone, Johnny directly unleashed all the fire of hell in an attempt to burn the Blackheart and kill him. The fire of hell is indeed very powerful, but you can't exert its power at all, and my father is the Lord of Hell. How dare you use the fire of hell to burn me? Although the fire of hell spread on Blackheart's hands, it did no harm at all. After death, Blackheart exerted great force and threw it directly into the air, then cut the plane in half with one kick. Holding the nose of the machine, he pulled Johnny out directly. Ant, you should look like an ant. He slapped away the hellfire in his hand. Huge amounts of two fingers squeezed Johnny's skull. My father has been very kind to you knights, but you all want to betray him one by one. After saying that, Blackheart kept poking Johnny's head. Huge amounts of power made Johnny's head spin. However, from the corner of the skull's head, he saw the people at the tail of the plane. Captain and the others, are they safe already? Are you still in the mood to care about those ants now? Blackheart said to Johnny. Johnny was the only one worth noting in the room. Is there any other strong person who needs his attention? Before Hei Shin finished showing off, a palm cannon and a shield that lifted the board of Newton's coffin flew straight to Hei Shin's head. You ants, I'm angry, I'm going to kill you. Blackheart held Johnny in his hands and ravaged him, then viciously threw Johnny to the ground. The captain caught the rebounded shield with one hand and jumped to where Johnny fell. The shield blocked the impact of Johnny's fall, but the force was too great and the captain couldn't relieve himself in time. Boom! After the two overturned several cars along the way, the captain and Johnny finally stopped together. Fortunately, Johnny is a magical creature, so ordinary physical destruction is basically useless. So Captain, you don't know. Even if I fall, it will be fine, but although Johnny is the captain's teammate, he also holds a grudge. I still remember when I was fighting Loki, he was smashed to pieces by the captain. So, Captain, I'm on top this time, we're even. In front of a church in London. Strange is knocking on the door of the church. Most demons will not approach the church. Maybe this is the demon's instinctive disgust for Angel. In addition, there are indeed some barriers set by magician. So this church has become the hope of survival for a few people. People in the church had long heard Strange's cry, but they remained suspicious. Is the man in front of me a human? How did he survive the demon army? Who are you, and why do you choose us? They were worried that the other party was a human being transformed from a demon. Now that the church was their safe place, they were afraid that if they accidentally opened the door, the demon would be attracted and kill them all. It's like your feet leaking out of the bed when you sleep at night, and it feels like countless monsters and ghosts are waiting for you beside the bed. We're magicians and we'll get you out. But the people inside said, how do you prove that you are magicians? Is there really a Hogwarts school of witchcraft and wizardry? What if we open the door and the devil rushes in? Strange couldn't help but started to scold him, open the door quickly. Or I'm leaving. Let's go. As long as there is a demon inside my realization, we will not open the door. The person blocking the door insisted. Open the door quickly. Let them in. At this time, the person inside said to the person at the door. Queen Eliza of the Eagle Kingdom. You didn't go there to order me. Although you have a noble status, here, without you, you don't have any royal rights. You and I are just poor people who need to be saved. It's rare to find a safe place. We can't let anything happen to him. What do you think, Mr. Prime Minister? The people in this room are all powerful people in London. I think so too. However, there are still a small number of people who think so. Many people think that waiting for rescue inside the church has little hope, and there are no supplies inside. As a result, the opinions were not unanimous, and the people inside began to fight. It's a mess inside, and I don't know what's going on. Then there was the sound of a vicious fight. At this time, Boai Husey also felt that he was the fuse that caused this riot. But there was nothing he could do to destroy the church door. The door was actually very thick. Unless he used extremely destructive magic, he would not be able to get in. Using the portal is too expensive for him now. Portals using base blue stars within Earth range are fixed. Teleporting across planets consumes a lot of mana, and the farther the distance, the higher the consumption. Otherwise, why could Avengers Alliance 4 be so reluctant to play with Dr. Thanasolo and just paddle on one side? He also made a gesture with Tony and forcibly weakened it. Doctor, I'm talking about breaking off a time gem, and I can still show it off. Tony, why didn't you tell me earlier? I've already finished snapping my fingers. Tony died. Strange, stop yelling. The fish will be called over later. It's very annoying. Get out of the way and let me come. Su Chen waved his hand to Strange to get out of the way. No matter who you are, as long as there are demons outside, don't even think about coming in. I will watch you until you kill all the demons. Someone yelled from inside. Kill you and paralyze you. Su Chen cursed loudly, then flew up and kicked the 3-meter-high door. In everyone's shocked eyes, the heavy church door was kicked down. The door crashed to the ground inside the church. Opposite was a group of pale-faced survivors. Are you crazy? A business elite wearing a suit and tie immediately pointed at Su Chen's nose and cursed. You're going to kill us all. You go to hell first. Su Chen reached out, grabbed the man, and threw him out of the door. Ah, help. The man crawled back desperately, but at this time, a 3-headed dog jumped on him and bitten his neck directly. Some people couldn't help but close their eyes, unable to bear watching the bloody scene. Who's going to stop us? Everyone thinks this person is more sinister than a devil. All the survivors couldn't help but take a step back. Very good. Strange quickly builds a portal and sends these people away. It's an eyesore. Good. Strange agreed and began to build the portal, but deep down he still admired the man in front of him. If he comes forward, he still doesn't know how much time he will waste here. Time is life. It's a bit hateful to kill a chicken to scare the monkeys. It's enough to maim them, so why throw them out and kill them? Although Su Chen expressed the principle that when gods fight, Yangchi will not be harmed, but if you don't fight this kind of bird, you will not be spared. There is nothing to sympathize with if such a person is killed. Is he the kind of ancient one who saves all peoples, water and fire? That's why Su Chen is not sorcerer supreme. Okay, everyone, please line up. After entering, there will be someone to guide you to evacuate. Looking at my room full of powerful people, Strange felt that he had found a treasure. If all these people are rescued, they may not be able to be doctors in the future, but they can still come to Eagle Country and become nobles. Will I not have to repay the loan in the future? Strange thought happily. In the sky, Tony pilots the steel armor and constantly fires palm cannons and laser weapons at the black stars in the sky. But it had little effect, and even the hot weapons and ammunition of the steel armor were released on the demon Blackheart. If Tony has a game interface, Blackheart head will constantly appear on it. -0. Picture. The demon has natural armor and strong recovery, and its ability to resist hot weapons is really strong. Not to mention a strong man like Blackheart. Tony's bullet missiles are useless. Looking at Iron Man like a little loach, Blackheart was also very angry. Tony is worthy of his intellectual responsibility. He quickly discovered the shortcomings of Blackheart, and his strength and defense are basically impeccable. But it's a little off in terms of speed. I will definitely build an armor made entirely of silver in the future and turn it into an anti-demon armor. I also want to get a missile filled with holy water. I don't believe I can't kill it. For the two people who can fight in the air, the rest of the Avengers do not have the ability to fight in the air. I can only watch the battle from below, watching Tuo being beaten. And all the demons, like cats that smelled fishy smell, gathered towards this area and surrounded the people of the Women's Federation. Devils hate holy light, crosses, churches, and silver. I saw one near the map. Let's go somewhere to avoid it for a while. After the captain put his shield on a demon's neck and killed him, he said to the Widow, Hawkeye, and Johnny. As for Hulk, you should play by yourself first. No one loves Hulk anyway. Outside the London Cathedral, for some unknown reason, the devil outside began to stir. There are constantly large swaths of demons gathering in the sky. At the moment, there were still a large number of citizens in the church who had not evacuated. You must know that the 3 inner and outer floors of this cathedral were originally full of people. In addition, Strange's portal is too small and he can only walk slowly one by one. A survivor said with a pale face, pointing at the large swaths of demons flying in the sky. If it weren't for you, how could the demons gather together like this and even attack us? The survivor's words aroused the approval of most people. That's right, it's all because of you. If you hadn't broken in and killed so many demons, we wouldn't have been attacked by so many demons. Tie them up and hand them over. Then the devil can let us go. Many survivors shouted along. Su Chen, who appeared with Strange, did not open the portal. He destroyed the church door as soon as he arrived. He even killed a person. Now comparing the two, Su Chen is worthless. Seeing so many demons gathering outside, they just want to survive. Maybe dedicating Su Chen to them would give him a break. Su Chen was watching from the side, looking at them coldly. He saw ruthlessness and cruelty in these survivors. Prime Minister, is this the country you run? Looking at the survivors who had not yet arrived and evacuated, encouraged by this voice, they were all eager to take action against Su Chen. Don't be like this, everyone. We are all God's people and we cannot treat our compatriots like this. And the person who made the noise slowly lowered his head and quietly jumped in line to pass through the space door. Among them, the priest was still preparing to persuade, but no one listened to him now, and his voice was the weakest among the group. It seems someone made a deal with the devil. Su Chen grabbed the person who wanted to go out through the space channel and followed the Prime Minister. There is a little bit of evil aura. Is it the devil's spy among humans? Then, Su Chen directly stepped on the survivor's feet, causing the sweaty lover to roll on the ground. When other people saw this step, they stopped one after another. Devil, you are the devil. These survivors were scared. They had been bewitched just now and did not realize that the person in front of them was originally a very powerful human being. What gave them the courage to step forward? Su Chen is not paying attention to these people. The rebels in this group have been caught and are no longer a threat. Just wait until they all evacuate. Now Su Chen looked outside the church instead. The church he was in had a sacred power, and he blocked some Trask from outside. After seeing a Trask touching it, my hand felt like it was burned. Moreover, there is also a barrier set up by the magician, which is the secret to the safety of the church. Is this the holy light? But at this time, Su Chen saw that the demons outside were gathering together and were probably preparing to launch at the church. The sky was densely packed with dozens of black beams of light instantly appearing. These beams hit the church directly. A white halo of light also appeared above the church, blocking the black light beams. Originally, the church only trembled twice. It seems that this sacred barrier is indeed interesting. It can complement the barrier under magician, and there should be no problem in resisting attacks. Thor, kill them all. Woof, there is still a little animal somewhere. A devilish harsh voice sounded. He came out to die. Who wants extra food? I'm full and I don't want to move anymore. Leave it to me, Jiehieji. A demon flapped its wings and suddenly rushed down from the sky. And Thor held Mjolnir high, and thunder and lightning immediately fell from the sky. The demon in the air was immediately hit, the demon was scorched directly, and a charred corpse fell to the ground helplessly. Use magic to kill this hateful dog. Whoosh whoosh. As they spoke, each of these demons grabbed black balls of light in their hands and threw them towards Thor continuously. So many demons throwing black balls together, it's really like rain. Thor didn't even hide, he just stood there, holding the hammer high in his hand, and kept releasing lightning at the demon in the sky. Although every demon has physical fitness that surpasses the captain, the demon does not have a shield, so it is just a matter of one blow. The other side. On the way to the church, Johnny seemed to feel an inner calling. The hellfire in Johnny flickered on and off. Johnny, what's wrong with you? The captain asked with concern. After all, Johnny is the main combatant now, so nothing can happen to him. It's nothing, I just feel like I want to go to church deep in my heart, but my body refuses. Then are we still going? The widowed sister looked at the captain and waited for orders. Boom, boom, suddenly there was thunder in the sky. It's Thor, the captain murmured in confusion. No, it's not a dog that can use Mjolnir. Maybe Su Chen is in front, let's rush over together. The captain shouted to the crowd. But this was a red figure suddenly falling in front of everyone. This is Tony wearing a steel battle suit. Brothers, I can't do it anymore, you just have to look at the calendar yourself. Even though it was a steel battle suit with a strong shock-absorbing effect, Tony was thrown to pieces. You want to leave, have you ever asked me? You're an ant. Blackheart slapped everyone from Tynan. The captain reacted promptly and immediately raised his shield to resist. Boom, Jiao Hao. The small shield caught a fist bigger than Tony's, and the powerful shockwave directly knocked everyone back. Burn it for me. Johnny lit the hellfire again and controlled the hellfire to burn towards the Black Heart. But still nothing works. Black Heart was obviously burned, so he slapped Johnny directly with his backhand and hit Johnny against the wall, passing through several walls. Spread it on the ground. Hulk. Suddenly a green voice heard the muffled sound of the widowed sister being knocked down just now. He immediately rushed out in the direction of the sound, and when he saw the huge black heart, he pounced on him. This green guy with a black heart actually wanted to fight without giving any face, and started to do it without saying a word. Johnny passed out on the ground, and at the moment a figure came to look at the calendar. Boy, do you crave power? No, I crave milk. I'm longing for breasts, Johnny replied subconsciously after hearing this understanding and seductive voice. If he hadn't heard the receiving voice, he would have thought he had met Mephisto again. It's you, Su Chen, I didn't expect you to be here too. Johnny glanced at Jen's slowly recovering body and said to the man in front of him. Su Chen also suddenly felt that there was a battle not far away, and it happened to be not far away, so he came over to take a look. You don't long for power, you long for milk. I really can't help it. Have you ever gone to Black Widow to solve it? Su Chen said jokingly. Su Chen didn't care about the current situation, it was not suitable for joking, after all, a fight started not far away. You are joking, how could it be? Johnny seemed to be stuck in a bad memory. You must know that there is a saying in the world, the year of the tiger and the wolf, after 50. Are you imagining how old Black Widow is now? Now I can only say silently, Johnny, you are great. Can you give me strength? I'm too weak. I need strength now. I want to fight with them. Johnny said nervously. What can I say about Johnny now? He is better than his predecessors but not as good as his predecessors. He is very good at cleaning up miscellaneous soldiers, but when he encounters a strong person, he will directly receive a box lunch. Such as now. After his body was destroyed by Blackheart, he could only recover at a very slow speed, and the demon's history was also very restrained for him. Me, I definitely can't give it to you. I'm not Mephisto. Is there any contract? Su Chen beat Johnny mercilessly, and wouldn't give it to him if he had it. Although he still had a lot of precious props in his hand, it wouldn't be a problem to give him sun, earth, sun and air. But will Su Chen give it? Absolutely not. But there is no problem in helping Johnny find the hidden power in him. Follow me. Johnny slowly got up and looked at the raging battle on the battlefield. Johnny gritted his teeth and followed. So Su Chen returned to the church with Ghost Rider. Sure enough, he is a devil. He even brought a devil to the church. Everyone in the church couldn't help but their hearts beat a bit slower, but because of Su Chen's previous education, no one dared to step forward to stop him. And when Johnny passed by Strange, the doctor looked at Johnny, for some reason, as if he had seen a natural enemy. I want to slip away quickly. Su Chen pointed to the cross in the church and, put your hand on it. Johnny is puzzled. He feels very uncomfortable in the church now. After all, he knows that Angel and the devil are mortal enemies. But Su Chen did it. When Johnny placed it on the cross had some reaction, and some mysterious golden runes flashed. Father, come and read the Bible. Finally, when the priest was called, he walked out obediently. After seeing the magical scene, I felt like I had found the key to the mysterious palace. So I opened the book in my hand and chanted, "Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, love does not boast, is not arrogant, does not do anything rude, does not seek its own, does not. You who once were far away from God have become near in Christ Jesus through his blood. Praise the Holy Light, praise the Lord of the Holy Light who is the supreme, almighty, righteous, holy, faithful and loving. You spread light and justice too." As the priest muttered, Johnny's body immediately erupted into a powerful hell zone. An evil spirit burst out from Zoran, and at the same time, a holy force burst out from Johnny's body. Then the two forces entwined, and mixed with each other, and the powerful hellfire turned into a blue flame for hundreds of years. CHBD. At the same time, somewhere in New York, Mephisto felt something hot on his body. Mephisto was calmly taking out a contract, when the parchment contract in his hand suddenly ignited with a golden flame of holy light, burning the contract to ashes. Mephisto looked a little angry after witnessing all this. My knight, have you found the power you once had? Do you think you can stop me? Ha 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 ha, I'm waiting for you here. What is this? Johnny looked at Su Chen in confusion. Now he felt that his own had completely surpassed his original self. It even feels stronger than the demon Black Heart I encountered before. This is the remaining power of the spirit of vengeance in you. He was originally an angel, but later he corrupted and became a spirit of vengeance. The fallen angel is not weak. I just tried it, but I didn't expect it to really work. Su Chen explained, looking at this holy energy. Is this the holy light? At this time, Su Chen could still see the shadow of Angel on Johnny's body, but this angel was hairless. All of them are big white skulls, with a pair of white bone wings. Su Chen knew that he was smiling, but it was quite penetrating. Fortunately, the phantom disappeared quickly. Is this the legendary angel? The aura around him is so strong. But why is Angel a skeleton? I don't know, but it's so dazzling. Ah, my eyes are so blind. I can't see anything either. This angel is so scary. The onlookers trembled and trembled, but under the illumination of the holy light, their hearts became quite peaceful. The proverbial sage model. The car is coming. A gentle yet evil voice sounded. After a while. Rumble. A ferocious motorcycle appeared in front of Su Chen and Johnny at extremely fast speeds. Johnny stroked his hand slowly. Old man, I've been neglecting you recently. After speaking, Johnny used the blue flame on his hand to enchant the motorcycle again, making the motorcycle stronger again. Let's go, man. After saying that, Johnny got on his motorcycle and rushed towards Black Heart. Demons are quite troublesome to deal with. Without a certain amount of magic power to hit the vital points, they can recover quickly with their super vitality. But facing the holy light, he is like the nemesis of the devil, like the opposite of order and chaos. When one party is strong enough, it will be enough to crush one party. It can be a devil or an angel. Faced with Johnny's blue flames and the special effects holy light, Trask couldn't bear Johnny's holy light at all and burned himself on the spot. That Su Chen just said was Avengers Ghost Rider. Is he a demon? After seeing Johnny leave, the doctor ran over and asked Su Chen. Really? What's wrong? Su Chen was still feeling the holy light, feeling it to see if it was different from his own. Why can he enter the church if he is a devil? And I don't know why, but I feel frightened when I look into his eyes. The doctor revealed his biggest doubt. That's it. You should rarely appear in front of him in the future. His eyes are the eye of judgment. As long as innocent lives pass by your hands, you will be judged as a crime, and then you will burn your soul to feel the pain of the dead. Quote ? Strange looked confused. Innocent life. Strange's face became extremely weird. Although he is a surgeon, he is also the holder of the doctor with the highest surgical success rate. But I have also participated in first aid. There are always 1 or 2 patients who die on their own hands. You tell me that as long as an innocent life dies, I am guilty. Doesn't that mean there are no doctors in the world? Then Strange decided that in the future, even if he encountered a major crisis or problem, even if he encountered the destruction of the universe, he would never appear in front of Ghost Rider. The risk is too high. Okay, it's okay. As long as Johnny's brain is online, he usually won't use Eye of Judgment on ordinary people. Otherwise, not many women in the Women's Federation will survive. The doctor felt that the more Su Chen talked about it, the more scared he became. I have found the main target. Whether you follow me or go back is up to you. Su Chen looked at the Women's Federation members who were fighting the demon Blackheart not far away. As Johnny swung the chain, he accidentally touched a demon. The holy light attached to the chain killed the demon in an instant. None of the demons who survived were stupid. They watched their companions fall and fled away with waving wings. This resulted in that no demon within 100 meters dared to approach, except the demon Blackheart. Blackheart also let out a strong roar at this moment. He punched Hulk away and stared at the transformed Johnny in front of him. The fire of hell is a waste in your hands. If I could control the fire of hell, if I could. Before he finished speaking, Blackheart burst out with powerful magic power. A black and evil energy poured straight into the sky, and the surrounding air became sticky under the pressure of magic. I am Thor. A yellow figure carrying the power of thunder and an electric hammer struck Blackheart's head. Blackheart is very ironclad and was basically unharmed. In fact, Blackheart has a strong physique. It has a very good damage reduction effect on all injuries. It can be said that he is not inferior to anyone in terms of structure. Even when the magic power explodes, he can drink Mephisto to gain strength. Therefore, he is also highly resistant to the holy light and even the fire of hell. Therefore, the special damage of thunder and lightning's attack to him is not high. This is the Hulk carrying the widowed sister on his shoulders, and the captain rushing out to face the Blackheart. Antony had just reactivated the steel armor with Thor's lightning charge. And Hawkeye is holding a bow and arrow, and he doesn't know where he is in the corner, obsessing the whole audience. He Shin looked at the 7 people surrounding him. He Shin thought for a moment. His fighting style was limited in time and he couldn't kill everyone's ability in one wave. Looking at these 7 people, the only ones worth noting are the Hulk and the new Ghost Rider, who is full of holy light and dazzles like a 100-watt light bulb. Finally, there is the dog that appears later. Just look at the special version of the Avengers team assembled. He didn't know why he felt the aura of Asgard's silly Thor on this dog. According to local gossip, Asgard seems to be holding a wedding. It is said that the Asgard warrior prince and the 3rd princess seem to be getting married. In the end, the 3rd princess disagreed and was imprisoned in dungeon. It seems that their eldest princess was also imprisoned, and she didn't know who she was because she regretted her marriage. The Black Heart means that Asgard's aristocratic circle is really chaotic. Hulk took the lead, throwing down the 2 of them, and jumped up with huge amounts of body. Hulk chop. Hulk jumped on top of Blackheart's head, put his hands together and struck down with one blow. Blackheart raised one hand above his head and blocked the attack with his arm. Thor saw this and took action. He didn't jump as high as Hulk, he pounced directly from below. For the honor of the northern god. Boom. Ah. After a loud noise, Blackheart burst into violent screams. Woof. Secret skill, hammering the little toe. Assholes, I'm going to kill you. He raised his legs and swept everyone away. He had no other attack methods and only knew some simple physical skills. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. With such a strong magic power, he would do something else. There was no guarantee that Mephisto wouldn't find an opportunity to kill him. He still can't compare to Mephisto in terms of scheming. For example, now he is being dragged out to block the knife and test the strength of the earth. Mephisto, who was hiding in the dark, only regretted that he didn't see the Ancient One and the magician who hit him last time. I can't help but feel a little regretful. Seeing his teammates looking for opportunities, the evolved Johnny quickly pulled out the chains and tied Blackheart's feet. Not to be outdone, Blackheart exerted force on his feet. There was still a big gap in strength between Johnny and Blackheart, so Blackheart directly pulled Johnny over. Johnny quickly activated the power of the Holy Light to collide with Blackheart's fist. Boom! A golden skeleton carrying the Holy Light was knocked out upside down and hit the ground heavily. The Holy Light on the body seemed to be a little weaker. There is no doubt that Johnny now has city-destroying strength, and his combat power is even stronger when facing demons from the evil camp. But Blackheart's strength, at least in terms of strength, is definitely god level. If Su Chen didn't add a little buff to her body, she wouldn't be able to do it with her body in a single round. Look at the misery of everyone. A burst of wild laughter sounded in everyone's ears, shocking everyone. Sons, you dare to play in a group even if the master is not here, you are also awesome. Mortal, are you the magician who hammered my father? Blackheart suddenly stared at the person who suddenly appeared in front of him. In this demonic realm, he couldn't even feel the presence of Su Chen. You must know that the strength of demons will become stronger in the demon field. Although they cannot directly absorb the entire space into power like Mephisto, it can improve them a lot. Looking back, he realized that this person was the person his father had given him and was looking for. And warned him that if he saw this person, kill him. That's right. Do you want to stage a scene of fatherly kindness and filial piety to help your father avenge you? Looking at the thin human being in front of him, Blackheart narrowed his eyes. Try it. Blackheart throws the Hulk away again and activates his own magic power to strengthen himself. Boom. One finger carries huge amounts of 520, as if it carries strong demonic magic power, and its ferocious claws grasp like Su Zhong. Now that he is serious about it, his authority is even stronger than when he fought against the Women's Federation. Su Chen's eyes turned cold, and almost instantly, a little strengthening magic was cast on his body. At the same time, the mist of black aura surged around her body, turning into black metal and covering Su Chen's body. Physique strengthening. Omit 10 million words here. Su Chen reached out and grabbed the huge amount of fist with his palm. At the same time, the other hand also punched quickly, trying hard to hit Hixen's fist. Roar. With a roar, this fist, which was half the size of Su Chen's body, had its fingers broken. Black blood flowed from Blackheart's fingers, and a strong smell of sulfur filled the air. Suddenly, Su Chen looked domineering, and without even looking, he felt a huge amount of foot attacking Su Chen from the side. Are all your alien races so itchy? Does this violate the laws of biology? Qigong cannon. Su Chen randomly gathered his Qigong waves and hit Hixen's legs to pull away. At the same time, the magic power in his body quickly transformed into holy and incomparable magic power. I just took the time to study the holy light and strengthened the effect of my own holy light. The effect looks pretty good. The sun is shining. A golden ray of light rose from Su Chen's body, and Su Chen was now like a little sun. The priest in the church in the distance saw the slowly floating Su Chen and the dazzling light, and kept murmuring. It turns out there really is a god in the world. When Su Chen rose, this light shone into every corner of London, and the demons swept by this light were turned into ashes. The effect was like the king of fighters being defeated by Orochi's sunshine effect. Looks like it's working out well. Thanks to the omnipotent energy effect of the tears of the goddess, this kind of holy light that is almost comparable to divine power can also be imitated. However, it seems that the energy level is a bit high and the conversion rate is a bit low. But it seems to have miraculous effects when used specifically to deal with demons. It was thanks to Su Chen that when she helped Johnny upgrade his Ghost Rider, he saw the power of the Holy Spirit that Johnny had upgraded, and then stole a little bit of it, so that he had such pure power of holy light. Su Chen, who has reached the holy light of level Godfather, is obviously unable to withstand the Black Heart and is somewhat powerless. If he were not in this almost hellish realm now. Now I don't even have the ability to fight. Holy light is the opposing force of hell. Su Chen's holy light has as much damage to demonic creatures as the fire of hell. And the damage caused by Johnny is much higher. Blackheart now only feels that his skin is burning and the strong demonic aura is constantly being purified. When the enemy retreats, we advance. When the enemy is weak, we attack. Looking at the weak He Shin in front of him, how could Su Chen let him go? He stepped on the moon step and appeared directly under He Shin the next moment. What are you going to do? Looking at Su Chen who was ready to go, He Shin couldn't help but panic. Suddenly the magic power in his body surged to strengthen his body, and he still tried to catch Su Chen, but even Iron Man couldn't catch him at such a slow speed. Could he catch Su Chen? Black-hearted, watch me strike Lucian Shenglongba. Su Chen instantly evaded He Shin's grasp and appeared on He Shin's chest. The holy light all over the body gathered in the hands, condensing a milky white halo of file size on the faceplate. The dazzling holy light collided with the Blackheart's head, and the powerful force collided. Boom! A dazzling beam of light rose from the ground, hitting the protective shield covering New York. A huge amount of crack appeared in the sky, and it would appear from time to time. The dust on the ground dispersed, and the Blackheart in the big pit appeared. His huge amounts of body were not blown away by Su Chen's fist wind. But it wasn't much better. At the moment, only half of his body remained on the ground. The entire upper body disappeared into the dust. Okay, the part about fatherly kindness and only filial piety is over. Mephisto, it's time for you to come out too. At this time, the sky was covered with dark clouds. The barrier originally destroyed by Su Chen was repaired again, and a dense demonic aura filled the surrounding space. Even the holy light that Su Chen had just transformed was flickering. Boom! A huge amount of black arms suddenly stretched out from the earth. This huge amount of black arms grabbed half of the Blackheart's body. Don't waste your son even if he dies. Feed him back to me. As he spoke, He Shin's body in his hand was crushed to pieces, and then his soul was crushed to pieces. Now, even the possibility of He Shin's resurrection is completely impossible. Because he stayed in the realm of hell, Blackheart had no room for resistance. In hell, the Lord of Hell is everything. He can control it at will. The black-hearted soul is in the hands of Mephisto. Because of this, he cannot learn magic and can only fight with his body. This also reflects how powerful the soulless body of the Witch-Heart demon was, and he deliberately refused to accept Mephisto's control. I have to go to the earth to die. Ha 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 ha. Su Chen felt a pressure on her. None of you can run away. I will rule all humans and make the earth a part of the new hell. The surrounding buildings collapsed, and a figure of huge amounts walked out from the side. Huge waves of demonic aura filled the surroundings. Insignificant human being, I will give you another chance to sacrifice your soul and surrender to me. Mephisto, huge amounts of head bent down, looking at the little Su Chen, said. Please like and subscribe. Chapter 91. In a garden in London. Have you made your decision? Surrender to me. Mephisto also took a fancy to Su Chen's strength. If he surrendered to him, it would be as good as having a new trump card. If she doesn't agree, then she has no choice but to kill him. Is this how you devils do pyramid schemes? This level is too bad. No wonder the devil's business has been getting worse and worse recently. Feeling Mephisto's speaking skills, Su Chen couldn't help but complain. These words can only fool some young people. No wonder Ghost Rider has rebelled after being around for a long time. What are you talking about? Are you feeling my power and want to escape now? In the face of this king's absolute power, running away is useless unless you escape from the earth. Besides, you still have hostages in my hands. Mephisto smiled slightly at the corner of his face with huge amounts of money, then pointed with his hand. Following the direction of Mephisto's finger, Su Chen thought it was the people from the church, but it turned out that he was pointing in the direction of the holy place. There are many demons surrounding the holy place, and they are not ready to attack the holy place. Fortunately, there are so many magicians that they can barely withstand the attack. If Mephisto takes action now, holy place probably won't be able to withstand it for a second. When the three holy places are out of balance, other life forms that covet the earth will have an opportunity to take advantage of them. This is an endless loop. Who said I wanted to escape? I was just thinking about how to defeat you. Su Chen said directly, it seems that this battle will not be spared. I hope London, Jun, can survive. Ha 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 ha. Mephisto suddenly laughed, and all the surrounding buildings began to tremble with laughter. You are the first person to see my true form, and the funniest joke I have ever heard. What are you relying on? Is it yourself or the Ancient One who has lost his way? Su Chen pinched her earwax and said, it's definitely me. I originally regarded you as a person. Now it seems that it is nothing more than that. Do you think I am still the duplication descendant from last time? Now I am the original descendant, the strength is completely different. Now it seems that you are nothing more than that, just an arrogant and stupid idiot. I think this is the most appropriate thing to say to you. Su Chen returned this sentence directly to Mephisto. It seems you already have a choice. Mephisto's eyes were full of murderous intent. Since you can't be used by this king, then today is the day you die. What a domineering guy. Su Chen shook his head. If it's just like that, you can go die. Mephisto's huge blood-red body burst out with a lot of hellfire. The palm of his hand suddenly arrived in front of Su Chen and grabbed Su Chen in his hand. Human, let me crush you to death. As he spoke, the power in Mephisto's hands increased a lot, and Su Chen, the master and apprentice's father, kneaded this tiny human magician into mincemeat. But Su Chen's body is like steel, no matter how hard Mephisto Rouge squeezes it, it can't be broken. It's useless. Su Chen glanced at Mephisto. He was also a strong-level godfather. Even if he was blessed by spells, he was still the same. We are both level godfathers. Can we tear apart a strong man of the same level with our hands? Obviously unrealistic. Mephisto was obviously a little angry and underestimated Su Chen. Little bug. Go to hell. As he spoke, he suddenly opened his huge mouth and sprayed out a huge black and red light beam at Su Chen. It needs to be forced. Although this magic beam is extremely fast, Su Chen's casting speed is not limited. It is said that the casting speed is full, but the magic shield with the strongest defensive effect appears in front of Su Chen instantly. Shield of Seraphim. Boom. The powerful beam directly hit the Seraphim shield. Although his defense was strong, his impact still pushed Su Chen far away. The land in front of Su Chen was pressed down by the beam, creating huge amounts of chasm. In the blink of an eye, it looked like someone had taken a kitchen knife and cut a slice into the cake plate in London. It was very scary. Mephisto's attack is so terrifying. He is indeed the Lord of Hell who can destroy the world. He definitely has the power to destroy the world. It's so tragic. Magician, if I give you another chance, kneel down and show your loyalty, I will forgive you and you can still become a member of my army. Su Chen slowly walked out of the ruins, looked at Mephisto and shook his head. You're overthinking it. It's just that the warm-up exercise is over and I'm going to get serious now. Mephisto frowned and said, it's ridiculous, you're still talking so boldly now. Before Mephisto could finish speaking, Su Chen took a deep breath, and the muscles in her chest bulged violently. Life Return. Life Return is a skill that can only be mastered by practicing the sixth form of the Navy to the extreme. Su Chen, who has the Kajin template, has also achieved this, and he is better than his master. Silks of white smoke rose, and Su Chen's body surface glowed with a faint red light. Su Chen pulled it casually and tore into pieces the yellow robe that sealed Su Feng's power. Originally, his body was somewhat thin under the robe, but he didn't expect it to be so fleshy after taking off his clothes. And with the blessing of the return of life, his lean body muscles bulged, and his whole body was filled with a streamlined and violent beauty. Mephisto was slightly startled, and the fire of hell almost stopped swinging. Although he was sent back to hell by a hammer last time, he thought it was a blessing from an artifact, and the other party was still a magician. How is it possible? Aren't you the magician of Kamar-Taj? You actually. There is no need to be surprised. Magicians are also people who explore the laws of the world. It is not surprising at all that they know a few physical skills. Su Chen replied casually, as if to say, this is not the first time that magician has entered the battle, what is there to be surprised about? Su Chen shook his head helplessly, the space in his hand fluctuated, one blue and one red, and two long swords suddenly appeared in Su Chen's hand. Along with the surge of Su Chen's magic power, two long swords of different colors appeared, with runes all over their blades, making them appear even thicker. Frost sorrow, the joy of destruction. Come and disperse. Ice blue cold light shone, and fiery red flames rose. Behind Su Chen, blue and red were distinct, half frozen and half burning. Old Demon King, come here, my sword is thirsty. The Demon King was trembling all over, not with fear, but with anger. This was Su Chen's repeated failure to take him seriously, which seemed to be the biggest provocation to His Majesty. Su Chen obviously received Mephisto's anger. At this moment, in response to his anger, the hellfire began to explode and burn. Under the control of Mephisto, the fire of hell is like a rocket that fires in rapid succession. This kind of attack with low power but extremely destructive power is obviously more suitable for the current battle. Now Mephisto also regards the earth as his own private property. How could he accidentally blow it up? Boom 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 boom. Like the carpet bombing of modern warfare, the land under Su Chen's feet suffered a baptism of destruction. Although every ball of flames fell to the ground, they gave off a scorching temperature. Then a flame from the hellfire shot up into the sky, dispelling the burning of the hellfire, and the strong fire light rose into the night sky, once again illuminating the dark city of London. Su Chen rushed into the remaining hellfire, and his super explosive power increased his speed to the limit. Suddenly a ball of flame appeared directly in front of Su Chen. Boom! The magic power attached to the hellfire burned everything around Su Chen. But Su Chen, who was attacked from the front, was still running, but his figure gradually faded. The next second, several Su Chens appeared and disappeared at the same time. Suddenly bright and suddenly extinguished. Afterimage. Su Chen's speed exceeded Mephisto's imagination. In the blink of an eye, he escaped the bombings of countless hellfires and crossed most of London. Happiness of fire appeared in front of him. Arrogant, you thought Mephisto didn't have melee weapons. He roared, and a sword hundreds of meters long suddenly appeared in front of Tito. Summoned a sword and struck it down against SC's figure. Although Mephisto gave up 99 meters to Su Chen, Mephisto would never give up the last meter. Whoosh! The fiery red and ice blue crosses formed an X shape, and Su Chen did not dodge and answered. But the long sword in Su Chen's hand immediately glowed brightly. Two completely opposite forces spread along the 100-meter-long sword into Mephisto's hand. 1 second it was so cold that his teeth chattered, and the next second it was so hot that it was about to evaporate. You actually let me. The right to take action did not kill Su Chen. In the end, he was burned and frostbitten. Unable to have any other reaction from Mephisto, Su Chen flicked the sword away and flashed in front of Mephisto again. Without waiting for Mephisto to react, Frostmourne lightly crossed Mephisto's body. Although this wound is insignificant on Mephisto's body, it is like a scratch on an adult. But the chill attached to Frostmourne froze this lava-like body to death. There seemed to be a strong air of death circulating. Su Chen saw this and it was effective. Immediately used the ultimate secret of the two-sword style. Starburst abandons healing, commonly known as a few blind chops. This is a unique skill in the two-dimensional world, and ordinary people cannot learn this skill at all. There are those again. That's too far. Su Chen's speed is too fast, and Fisto's size is too big. Once you get close, it will be difficult to catch Su Chen's voice and shadow, making it impossible to effectively defend yourself. I saw a blue and red stream of light constantly flashing around Mephisto, sometimes hot, sometimes cold. The fire that can be left on Mephisto is neither natural nor ordinary, it is the eternal fire collected by Odin. Not inferior to the fire of hell. In no time, the Lord of Hell's body was covered with sword marks. Among two individuals with similar functions, it is an unchanging truth that the smaller the body, the stronger the mobility and the stronger the combat effectiveness. Su Chen's speed was so fast that Mephisto couldn't catch Su Chen at all, and the sword in his hand couldn't attack Su Chen at all. Do you want him to commit suicide by himself? The huge body was unable to perform effective sword skills at all. Looking at the afterimages that continued to flash around, the Demon King gritted his teeth. His legs pounded with strength. Finally, the huge Mephisto jumped into the air and was temporarily freed from Su Chen's entanglement. The Demon King now only feels extremely humiliated. He has not been so embarrassed for a long time, and now he has to give up his size advantage. At the same time, I also recognized Su Chen in my heart. Indeed, with his strength, he would not surrender to himself. At this time, the Demon King finally shrank in size and became about the same size as an ordinary human. Mephisto looked over, and saw that each of the hands below was holding a long sword with different properties. Frost and flames were constantly intertwined, and the strong wind caused Su Chen's black hair to dance wildly. It has quite a super red to super blue flavor in it. I recognize you, your name is Su Chen, right? The Demon King looked at the sword marks all over his body. There was a trace of pain, and no human being could leave a wound on his body for thousands of years. He recognized the sincerity's strength. The sense of identity is even stronger than that of Ancient One. Ancient One is as powerful as Time Gem, but without Time Gem. She is still great, but not as great as Su Chen. With his powerful recovery ability, Yinshin quickly recovered from his sword wounds. However, the death energy inside is still circulating in Mephisto's body, and it won't be driven away for a while. Frostmourne and Firejoy cross and stand in front of him. Look at the demon not far away. Are you still going to fight? Su Chen looked at the almost handsome Demon King in front of him. Sure enough, the comics are not lying, the Demon King in human form is indeed, Lee's good beautiful. If you don't worry about the form of the sheepskin contract, then develop a set of contract methods with signature as the core, and then debut in the form of an idol. The devil's belief has long spread all over the world. Is there any need to occupy the earth in such a way that it is almost destroyed? Definitely. We finally trapped the Ancient One magician in another dimension. If we don't fight now, it will probably be even more troublesome when he comes out. The Demon King taunted. Giving up his huge size, his combat power against Su Chen has also improved. It's not like he can't fight. He will never let this opportunity pass him by. 1. After London is also transformed into a part of hell, then he has taken root on the earth. At that time, it will slowly erode the earth, and sooner or later the earth will become its cyst. Lost. Sorry, the devil's dictionary power doesn't lose, it only wins. To be honest, I really don't want to fight you with all my strength, because this is the earth, which is far from as strong as I thought. Su Chen drew out the two swords in front of him. If you feel the sorrow of frost and the joy of fire, you will be covered in flames and frost. The experiences of frost and fire are intertwined, and London is immersed in a song of ice and fire. Ordinary people who are still alive can't help but feel that they are either in a hot hell or fighting against freezing in a world of ice and snow. As for whether these people can survive this battle, it all depends on luck. Su Chen said that is what Yingzhong should consider. What does it have to do with me? As for whether I will be held accountable, and the wrongdoers have their creditors, these are all good things done by Mephisto. What does it have to do with me, Su Chen? The captain held Iron Man, who was about to become scrap metal, in the ruins, struggling to keep warm in this frost world. I am constantly victorious in my heart. It is God's war and has nothing to do with me. I use this to make myself feel better. Tony, is this a strong person? Can we really protect this world? The captain looked at the battlefield solemnly, and the surrounding temperature reminded him of the frozen years. This magician is really strong, and there is also a robot that is stronger than the mecha I developed. Now I am also thinking about finding an opportunity to learn magic. My armor is not updated as fast as it can be. The crisis is happening quickly. Tony took off his mask and looked depressed. Su Chen's strength was like the sun in the sky. It was powerful and far away. It could touch the afterglow, but it was out of reach and could not find its limit. For someone like him, he can be easily killed. In fact, Tony doesn't know that he is actually very capable in learning magic. His ability is even almost the same as that of Doctor Strange. If he really learns magic, Tony might really become the new Sorcerer Supreme. The captain didn't think about this, but secretly thought about whether to find time to practice a set secretly. Shield Hammer, Combo. The widowed sister and Hawkeye, the only ADC of the Women's Federation, stay warm in Yushi. The two mortals couldn't help but shed, touched, tears beside the fire. Which huge amounts of demons are stronger than they imagined. But they didn't expect that a terrifying demon would appear next. Even if they wanted to seduce his attention, they couldn't do it. Now they have decided whether it was right or wrong for them to join the Avengers. Their strength is considered strong among humans, and they can even barely confront gods. But now, what are their chances of surviving if they participate? Today's Demon King doesn't even have the qualifications to obliterate them. Hulk, who am I and where am I? What am I doing? Hulk is now thinking about life in the ruins. There is a demon named Su-Chen outside. The baby is afraid and doesn't want to go out. Thor put down the hammer in his hand and was spinning around the hammer crazily. Woof, I am Thor, for the honor of the Northern God. God, only you can save us in this doomsday. The priest in the church is holding a Bible and constantly praying. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. Help, leave quickly, I don't want to die yet. For a time, those who survived began to cry one after another. Facing the apocalyptic London, few people can calm down, and those who survive can only pray. On the battlefield, Su-Chen and the Demon King looked at each other, and then assumed a fighting posture. The group prepares for the next battle, but the Demon King still chooses to use the sword, trying to regain his previous position. Feeling the strong magic power emanating from the two people and the lingering fighting spirit in the air. The battle is about to break out. Their eyes met, and after a loud noise, a continuous offensive quickly began. The shadows of blue and red swords are reflected in the thick shadows of huge amounts of wind. Ordinary people, even ordinary people, cannot capture the sound and shadow of the two people. The intensity of the battle can only be seen from the continuous sound of air explosions and steel. Clang, dots of fire bloomed, violent winds rose, and an unbridled storm swept across the city of London. Every firefight plows deep furrows into the century-old city. If it continues, the battle between the two will destroy all of London. In Su-Chen's two-sword style stunt, Demon King Zhang could not take any advantage. It may also be that he has not fought for thousands of years, or it may be that his daily combat skills have declined due to his daily efforts in scheming. When the devil attacked, Su-Chen revealed a fatal flaw. This is an excellent opportunity. The Demon King believes that his sword will definitely give the mortal Su-Chen a fatal blow. However, the facts once again proved that my ability to fight back was all an illusion. After the two figures crossed each other, Su-Chen suddenly accelerated and slashed continuously in a spiral movement. Frostmourne and Firejoy immediately broke out and took the opportunity to cut off the Demon King's right arm. The Demon King's severed arm suddenly exuded a smell similar to sulfur, and the blood constantly corroded the ground below. How about I hunt geese all day long and let the geese peck my eyes? The Demon King did not respond, and his handsome face showed an expression of disbelief. The young man in front of him had frightened himself too much during the battle. But cutting off his own arm still shocked him. He actually lost in a close combat, to this young man who was only about 20 years old. This is simply unimaginable. Even the former gods would not have allowed him to suffer such a big loss in close combat. Moreover, the opponent's long sword seems to have a special ability that can inhibit his recovery speed. The severed arm could not be restored for a while. It's really terrifying, this sword skill. Among the gods, your sword skill is also at the top level. That's for sure, I have practiced the most precious sword manual. Su-Chen replied in response. What kind of sword manual has such power? The Demon King said while condensing his magic power secretly. The outline of the Peerless Sword Manual is, if you don't have a woman in your heart, draw your sword to the god of nature. Quote ? Quote. Demon King. Women will only affect the speed of my sword. The Ruthless and Peerless Sword Manual. There is no woman in the heart of the program, so he draws his sword to the god of nature. Forget your sweetheart on the first page of the sword manual. The second page of the sword manual cuts the world of mortals with a sword. The woman on the third page of the sword manual is the most annoying. On the fourth page of the sword manual, the woman's heart is broken. The fifth page of the sword manual kills an old lover in anger. The sixth page of the sword manual is not for lovers. On the 7th page of the sword manual, there is no female like a god. On the 8th page of the sword manual, he kills himself with a sword. On page 9 of the sword manual, lust does not touch the body. The 10th page of the sword manual will no longer be a human being. There is definitely another, peerless sword manual. The effect is even stronger than the Wetching peerless sword manual above. Su Chen said that he would not tell others if he was not an acquaintance. This is the outline of this sword manual. That means holding a girl in your arms will do twice as much damage. Your sword skills are indeed very strong, come up with your ultimate move. This should be the final blow. The Demon King ignored the broken arm on the ground. With his recovery power, he would be able to fully recover after a while. It is true that we should deal with Su Chen first now, even if it costs some money, we can accept it. The Demon King did not show contempt at the beginning, and did not show any carelessness. He mobilized the magic power of his whole body, and the majestic magic power appeared around the Demon King. At the same time, it also transformed back into a body several hundred meters high. This is the kind of Demon King that contains the most magic power. The sudden change stirred up the energy imbalance in the space, the light waves spread out, the atmosphere suddenly sank, and the world between heaven and earth was rendered extremely heavy. This is the devil mobilizing all the energy of the pseudo-hell. Su Chen faced forward, only to feel the intensity of the magic power in front of him that he had never seen before. Even Su Chen, who possesses tears of the goddess, cannot compare with her. The blood-red light spread out behind the Demon King, and the color of blood, evil, and the noisy curses of the soul enveloped half of London. Demon King Cannon. Terrifying energy gathered around the Demon King's mouth, and a black sphere quietly formed. Since you can't defeat Su Chen in melee combat, use magic. The Lord of Hell lacks everything except magic power. And Su Chen didn't miss the occasion either. Holding up both hands, Frostmourne and Firejoy. The energy of ice and fire condensed on the sword, and a blue and red light suddenly merged after being compressed and condensed to the limit, extending along the long sword. The powerful energy reacts strongly to the friction with the air, and even distorts the feeling of space. Soizao Su Chen put his hands together, and the two long swords quietly integrated in the air. One is Frostmourne, which represents the ice attribute, and the other is Firejoy, which contains Marvel's super powerful flames. The fusion of ice and fire. Not as harmonious as imagined. The two energies twisted and converged into a stronger shockwave, and the fierce airflow stirred up directly broke through the space and caused ripples. Under Su Chen's control, the two beams of blue and red integrated, turned into a bright golden light beam. All matter that comes into contact with the beam is annihilated into nothingness at the moment of contact. Seeing the surging magic power of the Demon King, Su Chen had no choice but to put all the energy accumulated in the tears of the goddess into the beam. From the outside, a beam of light directly penetrated the hell barrier, and the apex of the beam appeared at the King of Space. After a brief pause, Su Chen held up the lightsaber and swung it down with all his strength. Su Chen couldn't help but shouted something out of nowhere. Excalibur, a curry stick. The golden lightsaber collided with the black Demon King cannon without any explosion, just like the two colors on the palette, both ceased to exist after integration. The collapsed space twisted into a cyclone, swallowing up everything around it. The feeling of shrinking was as if a piece of space had been wiped out, causing the distance between heaven and earth to be narrowed. The lightsaber and the black energy column were still fighting quietly. Boom! Only a shattering sound was heard, and the hell barrier in the sky was torn open by the lightsaber of huge amounts in the sky. The violent energy carrying the sharp sword energy hit the outside field. With a loud noise, the barrier covering the entire New York shattered. The Demon King's demon run is also somewhat weakened due to the lack of energy supply. And Su Chen's lightsaber surged head-on. The balanced energy began to lose its balance, and in an instant, only gold remained in the world. There is no obstacle between heaven and earth that can stop the lightsaber in front of you. Without the obstruction of Demon King Run, the lightsaber slashed down, cutting the stone pillar like Demon King Run, and cut the Demon King into two pieces against his head. Similarly, without the obstruction of the lightsaber, the Demon King Pow, which was cut into two pieces, blasted straight into the sky along both sides of Su Chen. And there is almost no material on both sides that can block the attack of the artillery king. There was a burst of fire and lightning, and after a whole roar, its destructive power was beyond the understanding of the people on Earth, until the pillar of light disappeared at the invisible end. When everything calmed down, when all the survivors focused their attention on the center of the battle. No trace of the original London Garden Centre can be found there. This city is also the economic and cultural center of the world. Now there is only ruins left. The only thing left is a house. Facing the former high-rise buildings, this house is not visible, but now it is enough for him to stand out among the ruins. After all, this house is the magician's home, which is the holy place in London. Su Chen said that he could not save this building. This is entirely due to the magician protection inside. That's right. Seen from the sky, Su Chen's position looks like the axis of a fan-shaped ravine. Su Chen just stood there holding Frostmourne and Firejoy in both hands. His opponent Mephisto fell motionless not far away. Huge amounts of body shape mean no vitality. Many Avengers crawled out of the underground ruins. Did you win? This thought couldn't help but appear in everyone's mind. Although they were just spectators, they still couldn't suppress the excitement in their hearts. Did you win? Su Chen held two swords in his hands and looked around him. Without the influence of the barrier, Su Chen's perception has returned to normal. Su Chen has already felt a wisp of devil's breath heading towards the gate of hell. How cowardly, he ran away again. Su Chen took a look at the body left behind. This run is not as easy as before. At least this time you have to bleed heavily. It is finally over. Even Su Chen felt a little tired after this battle. There is less than 10% of the magic power left in his body, and the durability of Frostmourne and Firejoy in his hands has dropped significantly. If Mephisto still can't be killed, Su Chen will take out the hair dye. No, it's a hair dye. Let's have a real man showdown with Mephisto. When Su Chen destroyed the realm of hell, the human army from outside was finally able to enter London. If the devil had been dealt with slower, the Prime Minister who was rescued would probably have pressed the nuclear bomb launch code in his hand. After all, most of the powerful people have been rescued now. A magician opened a space door and sent it to the joint meeting of various countries. The Prime Minister was placed in the meeting of the Federation. The Secretary General said, standing next to the Prime Minister, "We can indeed make a neutron bomb, but it's not a nuclear weapon." The representative of the Prime Minister was initially frightened and worried when he heard this. But after hearing this, he became a little puzzled. The neutron bomb is not yet a nuclear weapon. That's right. The Secretary General nodded. Actually, it's just a more powerful bomb. I call it the World Purification Plan. He said, stretched out his hand and made a flight motion. You just came out, so you may not know that some silver and holy water have some slight killing effect on demons. We can use bombers to transport bombs wrapped in holy water. After the bomb explodes, it will not produce flames. It will only spread the holy water. This is a joint meeting. Representative XX was listening and thought to himself, isn't this just a water balloon? Are you going to bomb London with holy water? But if you use this method, there are some things among our people that can ward off evil spirits, which may be more useful than your holy water. Representative XX said with a cryptic smile. For example, among our folk, children's urine is very lethal to evil spirits, and there is definitely black dog blood. Are you interested in making a bomb like this? Then it seemed that XX caused the beginning and everyone started brainstorming. I heard that garlic can kill evil. I don't know if it's true. How about giving it a try? What does this mean? It's still a sacred object of our country. Why don't we collect a cart full of dung beetles first? Then let the dung beetles descend from the sky. Is there any evil in the world that a bottle of vodka can't solve? If there is, then get 2 bottles. You trash, it's obvious that only anti-Hong can ward off evil spirits. We should gather a large number of women to collect anti-red. The Prime Minister of Eagle Country covered his face. I'd better just drop nuclear weapons. Secretary General. No, what should we do? Prime Minister, how about we arrange everything? Are you sure you want to put these things in our capital? If you do this, we will be on the international news tomorrow. Is it possible that it won't be in the international news if we don't put it in? Now that we have done it, at least it proves that we have tried hard. The Prime Minister touched his head, and then felt that it made sense, so he made a decision that was better than universal immunity. Yes, MD did it. Write down everything they said and make arrangements immediately. Secretary General. Yes, it can be prepared within 10 minutes. Yes, you are indeed my good secretary. You are deeply in my heart. Not long after Su Chen finished solving the Demon King, a fleet of planes kept flying over the sky. The fire from these aircraft is constantly attacking the remaining demons. Unexpectedly, not only Jingcha likes to appear at the scene of an accident within a minute after the incident, but the military is also the same. Su Chen sat in the ruins, lit a cigarette, and looked at his masterpiece in front of him for a while. I don't know how many times this has happened. Fortunately, no one asked me to compensate. Otherwise, even if I bought dermatitis and went to nightclubs, I wouldn't be able to raise enough money to rebuild the city. Did you say dead man? What does it have to do with me, Su Chen, to get rid of these people who were killed by demons? Suddenly, missiles flew constantly in the sky, and one even landed on Su Chen's head. Are these people planning to blow themselves up too? The shell looks very high level, and it's probably a nuclear bomb. You must know that during the war in New York, those people didn't dare to drop nuclear bombs. I didn't expect that they would have such courage even though the sun never sets. Before the shell could detonate, Su Chen opened a portal and left London. Unexpectedly, after Su Chen left, a holy water bomb detonated in the air. A slight drizzle fell in the sky. This is the super holy water purchased by Haller from Eagle Country at a huge price in the Vatican. The demons suffered slight burns after being showered. Even for mid to high level demons, it is basically useless. Before they can say, that's it, a cannonball was detonated in the sky again. This time it's garlic powder. The devil in the underground is confused. We are demons, dear, not vampires. A barrage of shells detonated the two. Let me go, what is this? It can't be urine, a demon yelled. It's a good thing that it's urine, but what's happening to me is actually a woman's blood. A male succubus shouted, his face full of excitement, and the blood power of his body was awakened. This is a catalyst for anger for them. The succubus exclaimed that humans actually used this thing to deal with them, what a talent. But then it rained blood again in the succubus area. And it's still anti-Hong. The succubus has completely lost her composure, can she still have a good time? Before the demonic beast could show off its bestiality, a plume suddenly fell from the sky. The succubus's face immediately turned the color of pig liver. This human process is not very offensive and extremely insulting. They are not without intelligence, and have entered the human world many times. Although they are not as powerful as the commotion caused this time, they are still knowledgeable demons. Human beings' actions completely disgusted them. They no longer want to stay in London where they don't know what will fall from the sky. Coupled with the defeat of the Lord of Hell, they have no reason to stay. The middle-level and high-level demons covered their noses and fled from this shit-filled London. Human operation is not very harmful, it is extremely insulting. And the devil promised that they would rather die than be summoned to this city in the past 10 years. After bringing the Demon King's corpse back to Kamar-Taj, the demon invasion finally came to an end for the time being. Then when it's over, a new round of sign-in will begin. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully signing in and obtaining the item, ability, Taigu Mephisto appearance Devil's Essence. Mephisto appears the Devil's super powerful imperial weapon from Zanmei. It is also known as the strongest Taigu because of its powerful user. It is specifically made from the blood of a super dangerous species that is said to live in the far north. But except for Esdeath, everyone will be driven crazy by the desire to kill as long as they taste a little bit. Among them, Esdeath even developed the ability of a super bug that can freeze time and space so that no one can move except himself. Su Chen used this Taigu immediately. Hiccup. There is no imaginary desire to kill, not even any emotional fluctuations. However, Su Chen's skill list has an additional ability to create and control ice. The subsequent ability is waiting to be developed, just like the ability of the electric shock user. Suddenly a portal opened next to Su Chen, and it turned out to be the Ancient One magician with a highlight on his head. Su Chen, I didn't expect you to defeat Mephisto head-on. You are getting stronger and stronger now. Ancient One took the time gem and rubbed his head and said tiredly. That's right. Su Chen nodded. It's just that Mephisto can't let go, otherwise it would really take a lot of effort to deal with him. Sorry, I was seduced into a mysterious space by a wisp of devil's breath, and I couldn't help you in the battle. The Ancient One sighed deeply. There was no obvious solution for the Ancient One in the special space. The most important thing was that the devil also used magic to interfere with the space, and even the space magic could not be used. Ancient One searched for a long time but could not find a flaw. In the end, Su Chen defeated Mephisto, causing the magic power to collapse, and she was able to escape. Even the time gem is useless in a special space. If there are no enemies in it, can she still restart herself infinitely? This demon is not very powerful in combat and has a lot of tricks. It was my mistake. I didn't realize that the 9 realms overlap and the spaces of each world overlap with each other. My current ability is not enough to affect the material world. So I am trapped. Ancient One said awkwardly. In the continuation of the 9 realms, creatures from each world will suddenly invade the earth, which will also put a lot of pressure on their magician work. The most important thing is that the place where the 9 realms overlap is still in London. London is also experiencing ups and downs. The most important thing is that he just came back from London. MD was disgusted. Even the Ancient One magician, who has cultivated his moral character for hundreds of years, couldn't help but secretly cursed. This prime minister is really difficult to lead. One of the 9 realms, Vanaheim. Thor is leading the 3 warriors, Sif and many Asgard warriors, to put down the war. Among them, Sif's performance is particularly outstanding. He wants to prove to Thor that he is different from that charming bitch, and that he is the best heir to the next queen. Sif saw a Vanaheimer attacking Thor with a spear. In order to show his powerful conservation ability, he blocked the attack with a shield. Thor simply gave Sif a look and spoke. To be honest, for a race that can fight across new balls, I didn't expect that it would need to use weapons like spear shields in the end. To be honest, the aliens' abilities have been lowered by them. The most important thing is that these aliens actually have guns. Are these people living in ancient times? Has there been no progress in thousands of years of history? Or is Asgard limiting the development of their tech tree? So why not give the Earth a whole new life? Earth. I have the Ancient One. Asgard. That's okay. And they are all gods. Can we fight at a higher level? It is really difficult to fight. What about energy attacks? What about special life forms? At this time, a stone man stood up. When Thor saw this, he had no choice but to unleash a thunderbolt, ending the battle in an instant. It seems that next time we should find the strongest one to kill. The scene of convincing people with reason. After ending a riot, Thor immediately called Heimdall back to Asgard. Sif was unwilling to give in and returned to Asgard. The Bifrost was finally repaired without the Ancient One being damaged. It took just a few months to repair a star-destroying weapon. The people of the 9 realms have nothing to do with Asgard's great desire to enforce peace in the 9 realms. I have no choice but to watch Thor, a junior, kill everyone in his own territory. Father, if you were the charioteer to fight in person, you would end this riot faster. Odin looked at the Asgard people in the martial arts training ground and looked at the vibrant people in front of him. Odin couldn't help but feel a little relieved. But Thor's words really made him frown. If he had heard such words before, he would have said that the child has grown up. But now Odin couldn't hold back. Holding the rod of eternity, he struck Thor's head. Do you think that if you flatter me like this, I will lead the expedition myself? So that you can save a lot of time for you to spend time with Loki. Odin kicked Thor away with one kick. Thor didn't get angry but grinned. It seems I can't hide anything from my father. I'm training you. You can't protect Asgard with your current strength. Odin sighed. This silly son just won't grow up. Odin didn't mean the size. Loki only knows whether Thor is big or not. Odin is talking about the mind. Odin knows that he is about to die. The growing power of the Asgardians is about to burst him. In addition, Odin's sleep was interrupted last time. He is already at the end of his life, and this silly son still wants him to go to the battlefield. Doesn't this mean he doesn't die quickly enough? The current Thor is really weak. Wherever he breaks out, he can only reach the country-destroying level of combat power, which is still far away from the god level. I used to like to fight everywhere. I can't do it now, but I am obsessed with the love between my children. What Odin is worried about now is that Thor will no longer have the ability to protect Asgard. If Thor had the strength of his sister, he wouldn't panic at all now, but it's a pity that he doesn't. None of his daughters, sons, or daughters is worthy of his attention. Odin looked at his young son, and his heart was full of worry. If he had a trace, the 9 realms would fall into chaos once, and Thor would not necessarily have to shoulder the heavy responsibility. Odin felt very pitiful for a moment. On the one hand, he was helpless, and on the other hand, he was worried about the future of Asgard. He seemed unable to see the future of Asgard. If only Loki could figure it out. It seems that the Queen has to persuade him to get him over the psychological hurdle. Go hold a banquet to celebrate your victory in pacifying the 9 realms. Will Loki be there? Odin's scepter tightened again, and he almost couldn't help but give Thor another heartbreaking blow. No, you should solve the problem at hand first and then talk about it. After Odin finished speaking, he glanced at Sif, who came back with Thor. At the moment, Sif's eyes could almost drip with water. His eyes were full of tenderness, without the demeanor of a fierce warrior on the battlefield. After Thor saw Sif, he walked straight towards Sif. Sif immediately greeted me with a smile. Sif, I told you, it's impossible for us. Sif's face suddenly stiffened, and she stared at Thor with her eyes covered with mist, almost dripping with water. Sif, you have changed, you would not be like this before. Sif's face turned. Don't you like this? If you like the original way, that's fine too. I can unlock anything. Sif, don't do this, it will be misunderstood. Thor's face straightened. This was related to his reputation, and he couldn't let Sif tarnish it. Now that everyone knows I want to marry Loki, don't. Sif stepped forward and grabbed Thor's arm, shaking it. We were so happy before, you can't leave him because of Loki. Thor broke free before Sif could finish his words. Sorry. That's because I was young and ignorant. You know Loki is your relative. How dare you? Thor replied straightly. Why don't you dare? She's not your biological child, she was picked up. But he is your brother, he is a boy. Sif still didn't give up. No, she is a sister now, a woman. Thor explained. He used to be a man. Sif was almost desperate, desperately grasping at the last straw. It does not matter, I do not mind. Thor's last words directly hit Sif hard. Sif felt that his whole life was dark and without any luster. It needed Thor to irrigate it, but Thor gave it all to Loki. His biological brother. Sif can tolerate failure, but he absolutely cannot tolerate losing to a man in the end. But Thor's words could not be refuted by Sif no matter how many reasons he gave. Other people's licking dogs lick until there is nothing left. And Thor brand dog licking everything until the end. The most important thing is that he is not licking alone, his parents are helping him lick it together. Moreover, Thor has already licked the seafood feast, so why not continue? Sif was defeated, completely defeated. In Asgard dungeon. In a special room, there are flowers, a comfortable big bed, a lawn, a tree, and a big swing on the tree. There is a beautiful girl showing off on the swing. She was holding a book and reading it intently. This environment and comfort level don't feel like a prison at all, but more like a resort. At the same time, there was a charming woman sitting next to this girl on the coffee table, drinking afternoon tea. Are you satisfied with the book I sent you? The woman pointed to the book with Lecco written on the cover. The girl on the swing frowned. Mother, why do you always bring me books like this? I didn't even finish the book, wife, last time. Queen, you should bring me War and Politics, and Witchcraft, come with the Encyclopedia of Magic. Loki, girls must be well educated. Now you want to be a mature and stable girl. I now want to train your girls various skills so as not to suffer disadvantages in the future life. The queen caressed Loki's face. What the queen was thinking was that she finally had a quiet daughter. So happy. This time we must cultivate it into an excellent princess. Moreover, his own son is also interested in him, so the wealth does not go to other people's fields, and his own cabbage is wasted by himself. Don't talk to me about race differences. As long as there is love, race can be ignored. Father, do you think so too? Loki frowned, looking at the mother who had cared for him since he was a child. He couldn't help but feel disgust in his heart. Definitely not. If you don't believe your father, don't you still believe your mother? The queen looked at Loki tenderly. without any impurities in her eyes, instantly overcoming Loki's psychological defense. But the concern for myself lately has been so overwhelming. Moreover, since he was brought back by Thor, Thor has licked him in various ways. In addition, Loki has just turned into a girl for the first time and has not seen much of the world. It feels so good to be licked by Thor, the licking dog. I felt a little dizzy for a while. So on a stormy night under the control of Thor Mjolnir. I don't know why Thor's IQ is always online when he's dating. It happened with Loki's half-hearted push. Brother, be gentle. I have no experience. What kind of words are said? Thor immediately exploded with divine power, which shocked Odin on the throne and his heartbeat accelerated. What kind of enemy suddenly appeared in the divine realm? The next day Thor took Loki to the hall to ask his father for permission to complete the wedding. But when Loki heard this, he stopped immediately. Loki, I am the man who wants to be the king of Asgard, the queen. I am not the woman who wants to be the king of Asgard. So I refuse. As soon as these words came out, everyone in Asgard, the king, was so frightened that their heartbeats slowed down by half a beat. After the last persuasion failed, Odin became a little angry, so he sent him to dungeon to calm down. After turning into a girl, she must not be so rough, so because of Loki, the pattern of Asgard dungeon has been changed for hundreds of years. A beautiful dungeon was completed in half a day. Then the queen came to talk to Loki every day. Only women in the world understand women. As the chat progressed, the relationship gradually changed subtly, from mother and daughter to good sisters. The feelings became even deeper. As a new woman, Loki didn't know the tricks of women. Maybe Loki can thrive in men's machinations, but in the case of his mother, it was captured instantly. So this thing tells us, if you want to find someone to be your wife, just ask. If your parents can do it, they can help you be your wingman. New York holy place. What's the Nine Realms link? Su Chen stared at Ancient One, wanting to see if Ancient One was lying to him. What does the Nine Realms Lianju mean? Isn't it the story of the birth of Reality Gem, which also includes the awakening of the Dark Elves? Once Su Chen harvests the Reality Gem, Su Chen will be more than halfway through collecting 7-6 infinite gems. It is not impossible that the strange space created by the Nine Worlds link and some abilities of the devil could trap the Ancient One. Reality Gem, one of the 6 rough stones. After Odin got it, he threw it on the earth without any care. The same goes for the Space Gem. Is it because the earth is also a part of the 9 realms? Even if it is thrown on the earth, I can monitor it at any time, and I can say to the outside world that I don't have it. I have to say that Odin played this hand really well, and even the eldest daughter's seal was sealed on the earth. Could it be that Odin has some unique way of loving the earth? Since Odin doesn't dare to ask for it, I will accept them all without any courtesy. I remember, Reality Gem is in London, go and have a look. As soon as Su Chen opened the door to the space, he immediately smelled a stench and almost vomited out his overnight meal of 320 yuan. What the hell, so disgusting. Only then did Su Chen see the mess in London. Red and yellow liquids were everywhere, and brown and green objects were flying everywhere. You can also see some little bugs working hard. This scene is simply amazing. What happened after I left? Did something invade me again? Next time, let's wait until Reality Gem appears. No matter what kind of invasion London encountered, members of the Soviet Union decided to ignore it for the time being. Unless it rains, I will never set foot in London. Su Chen was unwilling to maintain the portal for a moment and closed it instantly. Su Chen breathed a sigh of relief after closing the portal. It's so uncomfortable. I didn't expect London to turn out like this. The magic is gone, I'd better find a place to replenish the magic. Do you think it's that kind of magic replenishment? Su Chen said that you are overthinking, just sleep normally and meditate to replenish demons. The worst is to have a space gem in one hand and a mind gem in the other. Somewhere in the universe, in a mysterious pile of meteorites, a black space battleship was activated. Emit a dark red light. The Dark Elves inside awakened with the mysterious phenomenon of 9 worlds connecting each other. They are the Dark Elves from thousands of years ago. As the leader of the Dark Elves, he woke up from the dormant cabin, which is different from the name of the Dark Elves. They are not black at all, but have a sickly white color, like albinism. Maybe he hasn't been exposed to the sun for thousands of years, that's why he's so white. Precisely because they don't want to bask in the sun, and don't want others to bask in the sun, they want to use reality gem to darken the entire universe. The leader frowned as he watched his men wake up one by one. You bunch of reckless men, each one of you has slept for so long and your skin hasn't turned white yet. If I had known better, I wouldn't have taken you with me. The leader looked at the world outside the spacecraft. On second thought, he said to the people who had just woken up. I felt the ether calling us, so we woke up. Now the gathering of celestial bodies in the 9 realms begins again. Our chance has come. At a staff mobilization meeting, the slogan of freedom was shouted. The dark elves are as if they have been injected with blood. Look at these men below who are waiting to be called. The leader waved his hand. Let's go, target Earth. In the ruins of London, countless troops, Chad, and rescue teams are wearing oxygen masks and struggling to find survivors in the city. Occasionally, 1 or 2 survivors who were knocked out by the smoke would be rescued. They all barely maintained the physical characteristics of being alive, but most of them were foaming at the mouth and showing an expression of ecstasy. Suddenly a spaceship crossed countless spaces and arrived over London. What happened here? Is it a ruin? The spaceship ignored the people below and plunged directly into the ground. Run! There's another crisis in London. Countless people fled here in a hurry without even having time to bring rescue equipment. At this time, the entire Women's Federation has not left and is actively doing rescue work. What? Do we have the legendary physique? Iron Man put on a new steel battlesuit that was just delivered. Don't worry so much, let's assemble first, the captain said with difficulty while wearing a mask. Apparently he's exhausted now. Today, he almost ended his lifelong battle in one fell swoop. But faced with this situation, people from the Women's Federation still have to work overtime. Widow Hawkeye, 2 ordinary people, said, number 996, no 007, we want a holiday, we want a holiday. The spaceship stood on the ground, and a large elevator slowly dropped from the top of the spacecraft and finally opened. An unmasked leader came down from above with a group of masked dark elves. When the elevator door opened, the leader's face darkened. It's not true. Could it be that you have discovered my trace? Did you set up an ambush here beforehand? After a while, there was still no movement. The leader finally couldn't stand it any longer. Ah, what's going on? Has the Earth's environment become so bad? How did the people on Earth survive here just now? Seeing that the leader was uncomfortable, the other Proxima Midnight Elves also looked confused under their masks. What's going on? If the leader is so powerful, will he suffer from altitude sickness or be unable to adapt to the Earth's gravity? I saw the leader quickly grab the soldier on one side, pull off his mask, and put it on himself, and he breathed a sigh of relief. But the soldier who had his mask taken off couldn't hang on anymore. He finally understood why the leader took off his mask and put it on himself. He sincerely admired the leader for being able to remain calm in such a bad atmosphere for so long. Truly a role model for our generation. Ah! Soldier. Pawn. After the strange-shaped spacecraft landed, the surrounding Avengers gathered together and rushed to the scene of the incident, looking at the strange-shaped spacecraft. Tony's design is rubbish. I will build a better one myself in the future. The sharp sword-like tip penetrated deeply into the ground again, and the already shattered Greenwich Palace was once again destroyed to pieces, and its foundation was destroyed to pieces. Captain Tony is the first to face the aliens. The 2 widows behind them silently took out 2 small pistols. Hawkeye is on the edge of Ob again. I am a shooter, so it's not too much to be obscene, right? Other shooters are all about melee combat, are you looking at me? Hawkeye and the widowed sister knew that they probably wouldn't have much strength in this battle. The leader of the Dark Elves finally came back to life after putting on his mask. Wearing black armor, his tall and strong body gives people endless pressure. He is wearing a slightly messy black cape, which is very cool. His white hair is also tied in braids, which gives him a sense of joy. You can say that he is stylish, or you can say that he is very ugly, but this is normal. After all, he is not from the Earth, and his aesthetics is not up to par. Even if he is considered a handsome man among the Dark Elves, it may not be so. Warriors from Earth, are you here to prevent me from obtaining the ether? The leader of the Dark Elves glanced at the group of people in front of him. I didn't expect that there are still lives in hell. So are these ruins your ghosts in hell? Everyone was silent. It looked like he was an arrogant man again. Ignorant alien, aren't you going to name yourself? And what is ether? Tony thought for a moment. What is ether? They don't know what it is, so how can they stop it? Why block? I don't know about the function, but it might be the space gem. After all, the name is different in different places. After saying that, the palm cannon in his hand was pointed at Tony. Frail people on Earth, you don't deserve to know our names. Your universe should not have existed. This world should have been under my rule, and you took it away. Now I'm here to take back everything I've lost. The leader glanced at everyone, closed his eyes, and immediately felt the position of the ether. The Dark Elves have a special connection with the ether. Even if the Asgardians seal him away, they can still find his location. Although the ether is also in a strange space, as the time of the 9 realms continuously approaches. The sealed space of this space was also exposed. BLCKMN, give them some care, I'll get the ether. At this time, the leader said to the black tauren humanoid creature on the side. His black armor and skin showed a kind of black horniness. After hearing this, the warrior stood up. I searched for a long time but couldn't find this guy's name. Just a BLCKMN instead. When the leader looked at such fragile earthlings, all the plans that had emerged in his mind were immediately overturned. What kind of battle plan do you want? If you have the strength to save the Earth, just push it all the way through and it will be done. I haven't seen anyone from Earth in 5,000 years. Although Earth is a little stronger, that's all. I can only say that the Earth has made some progress, but not much. Just like Asgard, even though it has been more than 5,000 years, the technology tree has not climbed very far. A Dark Elf main ship can break through Asgard's defense circle and enter the inner city. It is completely impossible to see that the Dark Elves were almost annihilated by Odin's father. At %, alien language. Tony, do you understand? The captain raised his shield and asked Tony in a low voice. He had been frozen for 70 years before he came out. He didn't know such a high-level language at all, so he had no choice but to turn to Tony, a genius among humans. You don't understand, I'm not Tinkerbell, how could I know, but he looks like a big boss. Tony looked at the BLCKMN walking towards him, struck first, and all the weapons in the steel battle suit poured out. Banner, it's time for you to get angry again. The captain shouted to the Hulk on the other side. At the same time, Tony, who has finished using a wave of skills, is chasing the Dark Elf leader who left. Widow sister. I don't want to play with these perverts. Ho! A roar rang out, and a green shadow passed over everyone and rushed towards the BLCKMN. The faster you rush, the faster you rebound. At %. Hulk was like a large willful cannonball, which was shot away and scratched a deep ravine in the ground. Hulk, what's the matter with you? Tony's face was full of black lines. Even if it was the previous battle, Hulk wouldn't be so miserable when facing the Black Heart. The BLCKMN's face changed color and he continued to stride forward. You can see how strong the BLCKMN is by watching the movie. Thor was hammered and even controlled the hammer of thunder to rush towards him. As a result, he was slapped away by this BLCKMN. Point 0. That's enough to prove how tough this BLCKMN is. In Hulk's initial normal transformation, he couldn't even lift Mjolnir, let alone a BLCKMN who could slap Mjolnir away with one slap. Leave Hulk to me. Ghost Rider Johnny quickly changed his voice and a blue-gold flame rose directly. Johnny has become stronger and expanded. Although he still hasn't fought in the previous battle, it is a fact that he has become stronger. No matter when and where you should have a show-off heart, this is the demeanor that a strong person should have. Johnny hasn't fully understood the secret of Force Shield. The white reflective skull carrier is full of holy flames. Johnny at the moment is indeed full of character. Johnny swung the chain in his hand and imitated Hulk, rushing over. The powerful magic power explodes quickly with Johnny's movements, with a momentum that can break mountains and crack the earth. But the Tauren warrior still glanced at this aura from hell. He even knew that Ghost Rider had a trick called Eye of Judgment. He simply closed his eyes and kept his own gaze to prevent the night from locking onto him. At %, Pegasus Meteor Fist. There was the same loud noise, the golden light flashed out, and Johnny had no choice but to type, GG. There may be one thing Johnny doesn't know. If you pretend to be cool, that's called awesome. If you pretend to be bad, that's called SB. The other party is really awesome. Heifer flies on a plane and is so awesome. With the induction of the ether reality gem, the Dark Elves quickly found the strange space where the reality gem was sealed. Under a stone pillar is the treasure of their Dark Elves, ether. The leader of the Dark Elves looked at the flowing red liquid, and the big stone in his heart finally fell. Reality gem was the final weapon of the Dark Elves in the Great War thousands of years ago. The Asgardians violated their professional ethics and did not dare to fight head-on. They even stole from their homes while fighting with them. No warrior honor at all. Odin. Actually, we are magicians. The Asgardians stole the reality gem, and this was their defeat. If you get the reality gem this time, you must show it well to the people of Asgard. After 5,000 years of blood and tears, he now knows how to steal homes from. Otherwise, how could they have successfully evacuated after invading Asgard? So tactics are very important. The leader of the Dark Elves stretched his hand under the stone pillar. The reality gem was like a flowing liquid, instantly spreading to the leader's arm and then integrated into his body. The leader only feels a power that can change the world, and he can do it with just a thought. Hands up, don't move. Tony controlled the steel armor and flew out from the side. Meanwhile, there is Captain America. I have decided on this group of CPs, and no one can break them apart except Bucky. At this time, Su Chen said, in fact, you can be together. Hey. What a boring toy. The leader glanced at them coldly. Crimson energy surged around his body, and Iron Man's pajamas suddenly slipped off Tony's body like noodles. What? Tony quickly checked his body and saw that the nuclear reactor on his chest turned into noodles. After all, once the things that sustain your life are gone, you will almost reach the end of your life. But fortunately, the stuff is still there, no problem. When the captain saw that Tony's life was temporarily unsafe, he immediately rushed forward. But halfway through the run, I flicked the shield in my hand, glanced down, and found that my shield had turned into a gummy bear. When the captain was distracted, a fist as big as a sandbag suddenly appeared in front of him. He directly knocked the captain away and bumped into Tony's arms. Both lose their ability to fight. The leader of the Dark Elves may not be as powerful as the Black Ghost, but he can still achieve a crushing victory against ordinary Earthlings. The most important thing is that the captain's 50-50 body shield disappears, causing the captain's strength to drop significantly, otherwise the captain will really have to fight the leader for a whole day. Even if you use tools, you are still a weak human being. The leader feels that without further delay, the world will be plunged into darkness now. The leader walked out of the mysterious space and looked at the 9 realms sky above London. At the moment, the other 9 realms can already be seen in the sky above London, and they will soon be connected in a straight line. Using reality gem at this time, the leader will be able to plunge the 9 realms into darkness without any effort. When the leader saw that the time was right, suddenly a crimson mist emerged from the leader's body, and countless crimson particles were constantly pouring out toward Jukwon. At the same time, it also rushes to the direction of the sun of the earth. The hemisphere being illuminated suddenly fell into darkness, and the fixed star in the sky flickered, as if it was about to go out. Su Chen, who was in the process of mending his demons, sat at home speechless. Looking at the sun in the sky, I feel very confused. What to do if the sun goes out? Is it possible to organize the people on Earth to build a planet engine to push the Earth out of the solar system and go to the vicinity of a new shining fixed star hundreds of millions of light years away? Then call this plan, the Wandering Earth Project. Su Chen said, how can this be done? It will be too dark in the future and I won't know what the other side looks like. What if it is Sister Feng? This creates great resistance for future humans to cultivate new humans. For the continuation of mankind. For the sake of human beauty, the function can continue to be used. So that you don't have to work in vain to sow seeds. Su Chen feels that it is necessary to fight for the happiness of all mankind. So Su Chen explained some funeral arrangements. Ba gave some precautions to Icarus, the rolling ball beast and the unicorn. I took out a clean magician robe from the closet and put it on. Then he took the gas mask and the dog and went out. The dog must be taken with you, otherwise the house may be demolished. Su Chen drove the mirror space all the way to London. To be honest, Su Chen really doesn't want to come to London. This is so disgusting. This Prime Minister really knows how to play. He is a talent. I believe that the Great Eagle Empire will prosper under his leadership. There is definitely no sun now. The sun never sets has become a tribe that never sets. Su Chen suddenly felt that the world was progressing and you were regressing, as if you were about to enter the barbaric era. Wearing a gas mask, Su Chen opened a small gap to perceive the other party's traces. This aura is so strong. Is this the power of reality gem? It turns out that the four powers can exert such a strong power. Perceiving the enemy's aura, Su Chen sighed. At the same time, I was also thinking, with Thor's half-assed skills, how did he win? Su Chen glanced at Malekith, the leader of the Dark Elves, through the mirror space. A large number of reality particles in the ruins of London are constantly pouring into the Nine Realms, eroding the light of the realm. Countless people use lighting devices such as lamps and mobile phones, but they can only emit weak light. The visual distance is less than 1 meter. The location of Dark Elf is very empty, and the Black Ghost is loyally guarding the leader. And Hulk and Ghost Rider are really kneeling down to conquer. The widowed sister is screaming. At the moment Hawkeye is still in the jungle. Seeing how honest his defeated general was, the BLCKMN nodded with satisfaction. The leader is letting darkness cover the Nine Realms. His first priority now is to protect the leader and prevent him from being harmed. But at this moment, there was a strange noise in his ears. An awkward yet polite voice came from his ear. Hey, brother, can you come to the mirror space to fight? I don't really want to go out. %. I don't understand what you are saying. Please like and subscribe.